here I am, in the place to be. Mr. K and B, you can't fuck with me. Extra sexy, extraordinary. Palms are hairy, your mama pop. What up, y'all? K and B, the Sexy Ninja, in the place to be for C+ Studios, and welcome to the Sexy Ninja Cast. Also, this is powered, this is fueled, this is motivated by crazyhoodiez.com with a Z. Crazy Hoodies, designs brought to you by Big Daddy. You should go check out the Big Daddy Forever podcast and also the solo YouTube channel, Big Daddy of C+ Studios. Go click and give him some likes and subscribes. He's got great advice. He's about to turn 50. He has plethora, if that's a word, of knowledge that is contained in that big, beautiful, sexy, bald head of his. Go check out his podcast, Big Daddy Forever. You can also send him questions you want answered or anything like that. Like I said, it's a great podcast. If you are new to the Sexy Ninja Cast, it is broken down in three categories. The show is about me, more or less. And the first part of the show is about my week, what I learned from it, a little bit of motivation for you, because this week was a doozy. I like using that. I like that. I should make that shirt. It's been a doozy, because I say that a lot. Second part of the show is the news. He's been on break for the past 2 weeks, but he's back. He's back. The news is back. So you won't have to listen to any more of my terrible music. And third is the main event of the show. It's either review. Lately, it's been POPFLIX takeovers for the 2 weeks in a row. I've been going to the movies a lot just because it's movie season. You know, COVID didn't give us a movie season. They just put it all on streaming services and stuff like that. But now everything's back exclusively into the movie theaters. So, yeah. All right. So my week, doozy or not, has been testing. And people ask me how, you know, at one point I told people, I was like, I am depressed and I am, what's it called? Uninspired and depressed for the past week. And that's just a mental thing in my mind. I haven't really been doing much of what I love to do, you know, the Juggalo vlogs. Yes, I've been putting out the Sexy Ninja Cast. Usually do silly stuff on TikTok, the snack me. You know, if you follow this channel, you follow C+ Studios in general, you know where I was always putting out some form of content, some form of anything. And I don't know if anybody's noticed for the last few weeks or last month or so, there hasn't been really no Juggalo vlogs. I just dropped one yesterday. One-man crew, much love, much respect, but it I don't know. I got in my own head. You know, the biggest thing I have, my biggest problem with myself is I get in my own head. So, and then I start questioning things. I overthink things. Overthinking things is probably the worst thing you can ever do for yourself. So if you cannot overthink things, try not to, because I overthink things all the time. And then I was sick, and you know, it was just an ongoing like rush of just negativity. But last week we got to get away. If you remember last week, I said we were in Phoenix. Went to the zoo. Woohoo! I was going to share some of that footage with y'all this week as the main course of the podcast, but a lot of the footage didn't come out the way I wanted it to, and the audio is terrible. So I'm trying to restore that in any way, shape, or form possible. So we shall see, shall we? You know, if I can get that out there to you guys. I took a lot. I mean, I was the dad with the camera, filming everything, anything you can think of. I filmed where we ate. I filmed so much. And that's why it made me very sad with all the footage I can't use at the moment until I work my magic. But that will come sooner than later. Yes. But something happened to me yesterday. No, what's today? So this drops on Sunday. This happened to me on Friday. Did you hear that? It sounded like a dragon. That's how, like, I'm at the tail end of me being sick. At the tail end. It's almost gone in the wind. I got up. I was laying there. It was my Friday. Already woke up to call outs and stuff like that. And I'm just like, then I just start scrolling through Facebook. And all of a sudden I see somebody that I follow, and I admire this ninja. And he's a very talented super ninja. Producer, beat maker. Like, this dude is just awesome. His name's Stir Crazy. And he said, yo, got some beats up. If you want to check him out here, this link, blah, blah. And I don't know what. I haven't done music in a very long time. I've shared my music. I've put it out there and stuff like that. And so I just was like, okay, you know what? It clicked. Great prices, by the way. Great prices on the beats. Like, great prices. And I was just going through, just clicking each sample. Then I came across one that just grabbed me and like just pulled, whatever funk, whatever negative, just pulled it all out and just like sparked the brain. I felt like Superman in Man of Steel after he puts on the suit and he walks out and he feels the sun on his face and he's like, that's the way I would describe that feeling. And if you have not seen Man of Steel, I don't know what's wrong with you, but he comes out, he's about to take flight for the first time, but he looks up at the sun and the sun just rays on him and he's just absorbing it all in. That's the way I felt. And from that point, I got up, dropped off the kid and wife, school and work, and I got a haircut. Oh yeah. And the person that did my hair, she was like, you haven't cut your haircut since 2020? Yeah, 2020. I mean, yeah, that's when the pandemic started, and I just decided to shave my head. And honestly, I got tired of shaving my head because I look like an egghead, and I was just like, I was watching some past footage of me with longer hair, and I'm like, damn, I look sexier with hair. I don't look sexy at all bald. Not at all. So I was just like, haircut, please, let's do it. I got a nice head of hair, so let's get it going, nice and tight, zeros and everything. And then after that, I was just like, nothing like a haircut. Just to walk out and be like, then taking a shower and just washing off the entire week. Just washing it all off. Then I got to work. I got the hook for the song already laid. I like to put the hook first. So, and I have, if everyone saw on TikTok, I did tease it, but right there it is. Someone asked me, was like, why do you have it on a CD? I like to listen to, people are like, why don't you just put it on your phone? I was like, I like having something physical. So what I do is I put, the beat is on here with the hook, and I have it playing as I'm driving around or I'm doing my stuff, and I'm thinking of lyrics now. But I always lay the hook first before I know what the song is. And once the song is done, I will share the song with y'all. And the beat is by Stir Crazy. So, yeah, that happened. Then I got on TikTok again. Then I made the review for One Man Crew, and I feel good. I feel good just doing something, not going to a job where I'm just collecting a check and just it's just not me, It's like I told you guys, you gotta invest in yourself. That's the biggest thing you gotta do. And for me, mentally, I had to be like, yo, do what you love, do what you like. And the fact that I'm making a song right now, it was one of those really cool, like, holy crap. And just listening to the song itself with the beat and hearing the chorus, and I'm like, okay, I gotta tweak that. I'm getting back into this creative mindset. And then I went back and I finished up some edits on the Social Vent movie. And like I said, yesterday was just a big day. No, 2 days ago, even yesterday was a big day. Like I did so much, and I haven't done that in a while. Just focusing on C Plus Studios and just focusing on myself. And it feels great. It feels great. It feels the bomb diggity. So people, if you're in a funk like I was this past week, if you feel like you're being held down, you feel the amount of pressure, open the door. Actually look at it and just be like, I gotta focus on me. I gotta do whatever that is, whatever that may be. Making music, watching a movie, like reading a book. Something you feel like you haven't done in a long time that you feel like that just made you happy. Go and buy that action figure. Whatever. The funk, the negativity can be just washed away. Washed away, hands washed. And like I said, after the haircut, after the shot, felt like that Superman and Man of Steel with the sun beaming down on me, baby. I was like, yes, rejuvenate. So go rejuvenate. Get the funk off. Now, you've heard my rant. Hope you got some motivation from that. Hope you get pumped. Bro. Now, on to the news. To the news. Ezra Miller arrested twice in Hawaii. Goodbye, Flash movie. Thanks, Ezra. Thanks. Well, on the plus side, on the Max side of it, The Batman is on HBO Max. With special features. Great special features. Oh, special. Oh, yeah. That's all I have to say. The Batman is now on HBO Max and on DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, whatever you like to watch it on May 25th, physical copies. And the latest, the finale, the finito, Vin Diesel has released the logo for Fast and Furious 10. Yes, there's 10 of these movies. 10. It's an X. It says Fast in the front. You probably see the logo. Family. I can't believe there's 10 Fast and Furious movies.
We are starting, and now we're seeing the Warner Brothers, and I love Nolan's intro to his Batman movies, because the first one's with the actual bats that kind of make the bat symbol, and this is the same thing with the fire.
Yep.
And ice is in the third one, right?
No, it's the buildings. It's looking up the buildings.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No. With the intro, it's ice, right? That's why we were talking about Dark Knight Rises. Like that movie's, I love that movie, but I know this one more by heart than I do the Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, we were having a conversation beforehand where pretty much have figured out that we don't know the Dark Knight Rises nearly as well as we know pretty much any other Batman.
I know, we had to actually fact check ourselves.
we forgot what the guy who ends up being Robin's name was for the longest time until we actually looked it up, and I was like, wow, that is sad.
Gosh, the camera work in this is great. The IMAX, and being one of the first actual directors to use IMAX shots. And I think that in Dark Knight Rises, that's where it kind of got weird for me, because remember, it was going back and forth between, this is an IMAX
the aspect ratios, yeah.
Yeah. And this was and I can't believe it. It's so crazy. I'm just I was thinking about this. If Heath didn't die, what would this movie look like? Because he died before production was over.
I thought he died after production was over, while they were doing post-production.
And there was supposed to be more, because I remember hearing, in Dark Knight Rises, when Bane's at that jail, Joker was supposed to be in...
And he's supposed to be one of the people he refused to let out. Even he's too much for me.
Oh, God, look at that smile. You can't trust that smile.
But no, I honestly think that had Heath Ledger lived, he would have been in The Dark Knight Rises. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, you have in him saying literally. I'm kind of jumping way ahead, but when he says, "Me and you, we're destined to do this forever," it's like it hits you right in the heart because you're like, "No, you're not."
So we were talking about like best Batman movies.
Yes.
And I know we're a little early in the movie to kind of get to that point, but seriously, my favorite, and I mean this with no joke, is Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh, that's good. I watched that the other day. That's so good. Such a good Batman movie.
Mm-hmm. And it's because it's a Bruce Wayne movie with Batman in it.
Yeah.
Which is what I think.
Batman Begins.
Yeah, and honestly, Batman Begins is a really good movie in that part as well. Then you watch Justice League.
Yeah.
You have some Batman, but it's mostly Bruce Wayne as Batman in Batcave.
Yeah.
When he's not being
Batman.
And then that's like and that's unfortunate because you give Ben Affleck some time to be Bruce Wayne and it's fun and entertaining. But then you just pretty much the entire movie, both movies, all they had was him being Bruce Wayne as Batman in the Batcave.
Yeah. I want him to be my accountant. If he's willing to bust out a shotgun to be like, you know who he's stealing from?
The funny thing is, if you think about it, and the Joker's just like, I mean, I knew this was gonna be like this, but do these people that are here know this? Because like, you watch one of the accountants just shooting people and doing that, and you're like, I don't 100% know if I want to be part of this bank anymore.
I wonder if that's part of like like trying to sell like why you need the bank here. And he's like, whoa, I'll show you how far I'll go to protect your money.
You want your assets protected?
He brings out this big shotgun. They're like, whoa.
This is how we protect your assets here. Okay.
And it's a great little comedy bit before, like it was earlier when he goes, I think he's out, right? Where'd you learn to count? Just everyone getting knocked off.
Yeah, I mean it is one of the various smart things that Joker does is where he like turns all these all these no-name criminals against each other.
The plan and all that money and no, I killed the bus driver.
Oh yeah, we were also talking about this before. So obviously you guys don't hear any of the movie behind you, which sometimes we have it super quiet. This time it's muted, and we actually talked about the idea of maybe not even having subtitles because we've each watched this movie so many times.
I'm trying to think because I put out a tweet because when I watched this the other day and I was just like, and for the billionth time, I've lost count. And I told you this is my most seen movie in the theaters. 25 times?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you worked at the theater too.
Well, I worked at the theater too, so that helped. But that opening weekend, though, I bought a ticket for every single show.
And you requested work off that entire weekend.
I know, in advance, like a year. As soon as the date was announced, I was just like, I told my boss, Mr. Forbes, at the time, when I was like, here. He was like, when's this weekend? The Dark Knight.
Imagine if COVID had hit that year.
Oh, God.
And it just, like, you get moved back, like, oh, I requested all that time off for nothing. Granted, the theater wouldn't be open, but...
Yeah. The makeup, too, with the Joker, and it's so funny how much of this Joker has influenced, like, looks in comic books, and how it influenced, what's his name? Joaquin Phoenix, going with that kind of goofy-esque, but still being crazy, and not the traditional red lips, green hair, like, dressed to the nines.
So, speaking of the comic books, that actually falls under the same kind of issue I have with the Batman stories being way too much about Batman necessarily, not Bruce Wayne at all. I know this isn't true, but like even in the new series going on right now, Death Metal, it's not about Bruce Wayne at all. It's all about Batmen, like all the Batmen.
Very true, and I think what I really like about the Dark Knight trilogy itself is Nolan was really invested in Bruce, and like when Batman Begins, you feel for him in those little moments when Wayne Manor's on fire, and they go down, and he's like, it's all my fault, Alfred, and this and that. And he goes, it's not your fault. He goes, you still haven't given up on me, right? He goes, never. You're like, oh, I'm here for Bruce. I'm rooting for Bruce.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's the better part of it was even earlier in the movie when he was just like, if it's my choice, I'll tear it down brick by brick.
Yeah.
And then in the end, he's like, I'm going to rebuild it brick for brick.
Yeah.
And you're like, aww.
Yeah, there's a lot. And then when he finds his dad's stethoscope, and you're just like, and I think that is my, it's the only version of Thomas Wayne we really got.
True.
And with his mom, too. And once again, his mom really not getting any lines.
It has always been weird. And that's one of the reasons that I really hope they do a Flashpoint at one point in time where Martha is the Joker.
Oh my goodness, that's so great.
All this time we've just kind of been brushing Martha aside, nobody really cares.
And
then just make her the villain.
Oh my goodness. And what's his name? The guy playing Jonathan Caine. Ryan Murphy.
Mm.
Spectacular. Oh, I
really don't like him in the next movie.
Oh, when he's the judge?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking
not
about...
even in this movie he's that good. He's only good in the first movie.
Oh, but it's so funny. He's just like... He's just such a little prick.
He is. And that's...
I told you my drugs would take you places.
Yeah.
I
never said
they
were going to be places you wanted to go.
And these guys, I love this crew here because I love the leader. He goes, we have dogs.
Yeah. So if they, granted, I wouldn't care about human life necessarily in those cases, but I would not shoot the dogs.
Do you cringe when you hear a dog hurt? I do more now, especially in this one when Batman just chucks the dog. You hear the dog go, I'm like, no!
No, there are certain situations in movies where I see animals get hurt, like specifically dogs more or less, and I'm like, that's sad. Like, I Am Legend.
Oh, yeah.
That part where he's holding the dog and you're like, no! But for the most part, it depends on the temperament of the dog.
And I don't think I really felt for the dog until he went to the movie store.
Yeah.
You're just like, damn it, he needs a dog more than ever right now because he's talking to a mannequin.
Yeah.
Oh.
Bye.
Oh my
I also
goodness.
like how this inspires him to get a new suit.
Oh yeah. Boom.
But you're like, look, you've been Batman for a while now to the point where
it's been a year.
Known. Yeah.
From what I was re-looking at the timelines because we were trying to figure out how many years was until The Dark Knight Rises. That's 8 years, and this one says about a year and a half, yearish, until from the Batman Begins when he took over.
Mm-hmm.
Because he literally gets the card at the end of Batman Begins. He goes, I'll look into it.
Yeah.
You'll never have to say thank you.
Yeah. But it's just, to me, he's had this suit for how long and he's never thought about making it more flexible.
Until this fight.
What the heck?
Oh, it paused.
That's interesting.
Oh, there we go.
There it goes. That was really weird.
That was a dramatic pause.
That was the superhero landing and waiting for the smoke to clear.
What makes you different?
I'm the very huggy.
And oh my goodness, I gotta talk about the voice. Okay, so after rewatching Batman Begins, I'm like, that's a perfect voice.
Mm-hmm.
The way Bruce has it, kind of like it's that real kind of like this level, and this one's like, I'm like, how did you go? Well, how did Nolan not be like, hey man, like,
so Chris,
yes,
you remember the first movie? The problem that we have is that you also can't do more than one scene at a time because your throat's killed after that.
Radiated bills. But right here is fine. He's doing the voice from Batman Begins, and then it just.
It's whenever there's a dramatic scene, actually, because when he was doing the "I'm not wearing hockey pads" thing, I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Yeah, and it always goes to his speech at the end. When Harvey's dead, he's like, and I love too how the continuation of Wayne Manor still being built, and now he's in a penthouse. It's a nice penthouse, though.
He's not in the penthouse, though.
Oh, yeah. Did you know for the longest time right here where it says Wayne Enterprises, there was a copy of this movie I saw that never showed that. Yeah, I can't remember for the life of me where I saw it, but I've known it now, but this was like when this movie first came out. Then I got different variations of Blu-ray and DVD and whatnot, and then it showed Wayne Enterprise, and I remember my mind was blown. I was like, that makes sense now.
If you know, but you know also something about Christopher Nolan's Batman's movie. I know this is a little off subject, but Christopher Nolan's Batman movies that I enjoy more than the Tim Burton, Schumacher, or Snyder ones is that Commissioner Gordon and Alfred played much bigger roles in his life, which the original animated series from the 90s.
No, because
people like that played more of a part in his life. He's not the one-man army that they constantly make him to be now or in those old movies.
Well, that's why for me, like after rewatching these movies again and again and again, right now the Joker War is going on right now, and Alfred is dead, and that impact I just see Michael Caine in my head because Michael Caine is Alfred. No offense to Jeremy Irons, no offense to the Homeboy in the Tim Burton movies. Michael Caine just owns this role so much so that I'm just like, yeah, you're Alfred. Because when Jeremy Irons came on as Alfred, it's like, that sounds awesome. And then now Andy Serkis is going to be Alfred. And I just see Gollum.
Yeah. Or Snoke.
Snoke. Yeah.
It's just, the thing is with Michael Caine versus Jeremy Irons, Michael Caine plays a better British-esque butler type Alfred to me, where if you were going to go from the comic books of Alfred being a badass ass kicker, I trust Jeremy Irons doing that more.
Yeah, but we didn't get enough of him.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's the difference, though, too.
Well, and I just think of the wasted opportunities of getting a Jeremy Irons and getting Ben Affleck to be these two iconic roles, and then really just not going nowhere with him. And now we got a whole a new Batman movie with Pat Patterson. And what we were talking about earlier is like
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Patterson.
Pattinson's a wrestling person, isn't he? Pat Patterson.
Twilight Boy.
Yeah.
They said that this movie is supposed to be adapting The Long Halloween, but we were talking about this one with Falcone and this and that, and a lot of The Long Halloween's in The Dark Knight and a little bit of The Dark Knight Rises. So where Nolan got his source material from, with Batman Begins taking a lot from Frank Miller's Year One.
So I will also to the writing of this, and something that this one does that none of the other ones do. They spread stories out.
Yeah.
Like you look at a lot of superhero movies now.
Not Zack Snyder spread them out, but.
What are you talking about?
No, like, we're talking about fleshing out stories. There's certain movies that can flesh out stories. So, like, Zack Snyder had to have the ultimate cut, which is 3 hours to tell one full story.
No.
This movie, I think I know what you're talking about, or am I not?
You were talking about The Long Halloween. I was talking about the fact that this movie kind of just tells one solid, like, all three of the movies kind of tell a solid overarching thing of Batman's life, where then you go to the next Batman movie after this trilogy, which is Batman vs. Superman, and they try to combine The Dark Knight Rises, the death of Superman, like so many big storylines that needed to have their own movies, where these movies space things out well enough that you're not, like, and a lot of it's original, except for, like, what happens to Harvey Dent. But let's look at it this way. First movie, what happens? Batman is made, Scarecrow tries to destroy the place with the League of Assassins kind of being in the background.
Yeah, Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah. This movie, Joker shows up, Harvey Two-Face. Not much beyond that. And the next movie happens, we have the League back, and Bane showing up with Talia. And that's where things get a little mixed up, is you have Bane show up, then Talia doing stuff, then the whole weird thing with Robin and the city becoming its own area, and
then Ra's being tied back in.
Yeah, where that one's a little more...
I think that movie's much more complex than it should have been.
Where with this one and the one before, they're very straightforward stories. Then you cut to Snyder's. Any of Snyder's, honestly. But specifically BVS. he starts it out in kind of a the Dark Knight Returns sort of way, where Batman is, he's been Batman for a long time. He hasn't really hung up his cowl, but now he's back kind of with a vengeance. And then you have Superman.
Well, I never got that vibe he left because he's been terrible.
But he's older.
Yeah.
It's one of those. Gordon himself says he's been doing it for 20 years.
I think 25.
Yeah, but it's. He's been doing this for so long. You really think he's gonna go crazy on us or whatever? But it's still the time period fits more with the Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Returns, and he isn't very kind anymore. Not that he was kind to begin with, but he was a lot more merciful. And now we have this Batman just murdering everybody.
Well, remember when BVS was announced and they were like, "Oh yeah, this is an older Batman." I was like, "Oh my goodness, thank you. Maybe that's some good storytelling right there. You got a vet Batman, this and that. That is pretty darn cool." Then we see it, we're like, "Huh? So you're telling me no other superheroes were established in his whole 25 or 20-year reign, and we're barely,
Well, see, that's okay. So that has been our problem with some superhero universes, is the Arrowverse. I know you don't really watch much into that one, or didn't really, but with Flash, Flash is one of the first metahumans.
Mm-hmm.
Then they have to travel to parallel Earths to meet established heroes, because in their universe, who's Batman?
Well, that too is the WB.
No. But that's the same thing here. But
this prick.
I don't know. I don't like him, but I think it's the funniest thing. He gets comeuppance more or less.
Yeah, but then then he's his little plan. I'm a blackmail billionaire that dresses up at night and beats up criminals with a bloody pole.
And your plan is to blackmail this man?
Oh, look. I remember I pop saw it because I love Morgan Freeman. And the cast alone in these movies,
Well, let's be completely fair. Maggie Gyllenhaal isn't exactly what we would call top shelf as far as actresses.
I like her better than Katie Holmes.
It still is not saying much.
It's not saying much because I still think Rachel's a bitch.
But it's Aaron Eckhart he was a name at this point in time, but he was a B actor, top.
Mm-hmm.
And then he did this movie, and his career kind of exploded after that bit too. But we talked about this beforehand, but this cast isn't exactly what you would call all-star out of maybe Christian Bale and Morgan Freeman.
Well, this thing today, Christian Bale's really not as big as he used to be.
Well, this is the peak of Christian Bale time.
Yeah, if you really think about it, what was the last thing he was in, that Ford and Ferrari with Matt Damon? That was his last big role. I remember, this was, Terminator and Batman, and, he was getting all these roles.
And I think I talked to you about the reason I don't like his Bruce Wayne in this.
Why?
Because it's too much like Patrick
yeah.
Bateman from American Psycho.
That's why I have a...
But why?
Because he has to be this arrogant asshole of the billionaire, and what's so funny is he's a little bit more subtle at being the kind of asshole billionaire in Batman Begins. Then you kind of get a big flip in this one where he's kind of an egomaniac.
He's so flamboyantly evil as not evil, but sinister. In a feel you get, I'm just going to abduct the entire Russian ballet on my trip to go here. Oh.
Well, that was Alfred's plan.
No, that was Bruce's plan.
That was Alfred's plan. Alfred's like, hey, there's the ballet.
I thought he said, you're going to need a cover, and he goes, I've got that figured out.
Alfred said that.
Oh, either way, it still doesn't help his character as being Bruce Wayne.
Well,
or in this one, when he's just is Wayne Manor in the city limits? I think you should know your jurisdiction before you're oh my gosh.
That's why I love it. And my favorite was one. What do you say? One fundraiser with my friends. You'll never need another cent.
Yeah.
You sold me, Dent.
Imagine if we lived in a world where people didn't need to be evil for money's sake.
Well, I love in Batman Begins is when he goes in the pool. Well, it wasn't a pool.
I'm buying this hotel. He gives a blank check to the friggin' maitre d'.
I'm buying this hotel and I'm going to change the pool rules. Now that's money.
Yeah. I don't know. It's...
Well, I was like watching Batman 66. And everybody knows that Adam West. But in that movie, well, during that show, he's a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's the millionaire Bruce Wayne, because that was a lot of money back then. Then they upped him to billionaire. I wonder if, like, another 40, 50 years, and be like, he's a trillionaire.
No. So, funny thing about that, you haven't played the Arkham games, have you?
I have played Arkham City.
Arkham City, they make a line about that.
Yes.
Where Vicky Vale is, she's like reporting, where, you know, one of the opponents to it is millionaire Bruce Wayne, and he goes, billionaire Vicky. It's not the 90s anymore. And you're like, oh.
Well, it's kind of, one Batman movie that we always skip over, the Lego Batman movie. I would consider that top tier.
When you have a romantic comedy, the romantic comedy is a relationship between Bruce Wayne and the Joker. Because, let's be honest, if we're talking about our top 5 Jokers, Zach Galifianakis does not come into that.
Oh, no, I don't.
That's what I'm saying, though.
No. I'm talking about more or less, like, I got to see Batman warm up Lobster and go watch romantic love movies.
In the microwave, for some reason, he's warming up Lobster.
Yeah.
And then, what is he watching? Jerry Maguire?
Yeah, Jerry Maguire. And, like, the little mushy parts, he's like, ah! Oh, yes. I remember the premiere, and I remember everybody, bam! Everyone was like, ah! Because you were with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And remember how that theater just exploded with like, holy shit!
Well, and so we've gotten way off topic about the movie necessarily, but this is one of the best character introductions in movies. Yes, we saw the Joker earlier, but we weren't really introduced to him.
Mm-hmm.
This movie, with this part of the movie is when he comes in and you see him as a character finally.
Mm-hmm.
And just this intro is amazing. And that's, so...
I like when he goes, his suit, you should know, you paid for it.
And so the unfortunate thing about Heath Ledger is that he never really, in my opinion, became an actor.
Yeah.
He had some decent movies, but he was never big.
I think this was supposed to,
And it
like...
would have.
You know, this was... Remember, because when he got cast, everyone's like, the Brokeback Mountain guy? The 10 things, I hate
10
about
Things I
you
Hate About
guy?
You.
What?
A Knight's Tale.
A Knight's Tale, that guy's going to be the Joker? And it's just like... It goes like the Ben Affleck, even though Ben Affleck's not dead. But
I think the better way to have put that, not Ben Affleck, because Ben Affleck was already an established actor at that point in time that was really big.
But he was hated.
Well, no, but better thing, Michael Keaton. If you're going to talk about someone...
Well, that is true, because, like, Mr. Mom...
Yeah.
Beetlejuice? Mr. Mom is going to be Batman?
And he wasn't a huge actor at that point. And then that movie happened, and people are like, oh my gosh, Michael Keaton's a good actor.
Do you know what? Okay, do you remember this Michael Keaton movie, Multiplicity? Where he clones himself?
Yeah, it's the one where he has a bunch of clones of himself. And yeah.
I just saw the trailer for that. I was like, I remember this movie, but I don't want to remember this movie.
Speaking of old movies, recently I was looking for an old movie that I watched one time in school.
Oh, real quick before you say that, like, I almost forget his name, but him.
Spawn, yeah.
Yeah. He was on a podcast earlier this year, and he talked about Heath, and they asked him, like, hey, so do you want to go and explain, like, did Heath really go crazy during the role, and, all the rumors and whatnot that we heard? And he goes, no. He goes, Heath had so much fun. He goes, this scene here, he talked about it. He goes, yeah. He goes, every time they cut, he goes, Heath would say something, like, hilarious, and, like, he goes, Heath had so much fun, and every time he took a picture, Nolan got mad at him. he's like, hey, we can't let anybody see you. We're trying to keep this secret, but he goes, Heath was just such a big heart on the set,
Mm-hmm.
which made me like really really sad because I'm just like, damn. After watching this again, I'm like, more dramatic.
More dramatic pausing. I think there might be something wrong with
The disc.
the disc. Yeah, I've owned this disc since the trilogy came. Like I bought this opening day. The trilogy
The
DVDs came out, the box set, and I have to have watched this thing. The movie itself has to have played over 100 times at least.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it every single time, but
I have it on my brother's Voodoo now,
Mhm.
so it's just like, oh, click, resume, rewatch.
Mhm.
What you were saying, the story you were going into. I'm sorry. Call me a dick. You can be like, you cut me off.
I was trying to. Jeez.
Yeah, does it pertain to Batman?
It should.
It should.
Not that it has to in this conversation. We are.
No.
Okay, well, I'll
You'll come back to
maybe
you.
I'll remember it in when we're finally watching the Dark Knight Rises.
No, you're gonna remember right at the end that I'm gonna cut you off and be like, "Hey, ladies, I'm gonna catch you next time."
Or it'll be on the next part.
Yeah.
Hey, remember that part a week ago?
Did you hold on to that one bit?
Yeah.
Was that why you came back? Because you wanted to hear what Flix was gonna say?
We were talking about Heath Ledger and something, but no, he. It's he. Oh, I don't remember. Maybe we were talking about duplicity.
Oh, you watched an old movie.
Yeah.
That's what it was. You watched an old movie a long time ago. You watched it. It's cool.
Oh yeah, so it doesn't have to do with Batman, but it is kind of so funny. We watched a movie in high school or middle school, something like that, and I went back to look for it because it's a Shakespeare movie called Much Ado About Nothing.
Oh yeah.
From 1993.
Yeah.
You know?
I know the movie. Then Joss Whedon did a remake of it ish. Yeah.
No. But the premise of it is the 1993 was directed by Kenneth Branagh. The guy who did Thor.
Yeah.
And the actors in that movie, for a Shakespearean movie, Kenneth Branagh, makes sense. Yeah. Denzel Washington. Oh, okay. Keanu Reeves. Okay.
Oh man.
Kate Beckinsale.
Okay.
And I think it was the first movie with Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah.
And you look through the cast, and this is the most star-studded Shakespearean movie I've ever seen. But I was watching it, and I love Denzel Washington to death.
Yes.
He is an amazing actor. There's not really many things I've ever watched where I've just gone, one of my favorite thriller movies is Fallen.
Oh, yeah.
But
I'm now thinking of all the great Denzel Washington
exactly,
movies.
there's a lot. But just in Much Ado About Nothing, when he's speaking in iambic pentameter, and he still has his Denzel Washington voice and his I don't think idiisms. He doesn't use any of his idiisms, but he doesn't have a different accent. He's trying to do kind of a British accent, but he still sounds like he does in Training Day. So you're like,
King Kong ain't got shit on me.
But you're watching this Shakespearean movie with Denzel, who still does an amazing job. It's just listening to him talk.
Was that one based in the actual time?
Yeah.
Old, because I remember the Much Ado About Nothing. The Joss
one was a modern
take on it. Had Clark Gregg from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I like how that's what he's known for. It's also weird though when you think about actors being tied to a specific movie. Mm-hmm. There's certain actors that if you said it, most people would probably think of one movie, but a lot of other people would think of other movies. Patrick Stewart.
Picard.
Yeah. Well, maybe not Picard, but just the character of Picard.
Yeah.
But also Professor X. He has a range of a couple things he's done.
I don't know. McAvoy took the Professor X away.
No,
for me personally. I like how you got. Oh hell no.
Well, and it's after when you even with the time when you took First Class versus Logan. Oh, Professor X from Logan all the way.
Professor X and Logan's a different story because that's I see McAvoy in Patrick Stewart because then I go back to McAvoy in Days of Futures Past where he's he's like, I'm gonna give up my mind reading powers and I want to walk.
That's no. Especially because he's in the comic books, he's a strong enough telepath and telekinetic that he can make himself walk.
Yeah.
He could live a normal life if he wanted to.
I think the undertone of that story in the Days of Future Past was like drugs.
Yeah, we're in the 70s. We need drugs.
So how can we do it? Well, he needs to walk.
And we'll make Beast look normal again.
Yeah, which I always found, I love that movie, but I always found it weird when they kept on going back and forth. When he's like, I'm Beast, I'm not Beast, I'm Beast. And I'm like, just stay Beast. Like, that's the Beast I've always known.
But the problem with that to me is that when you see Kelsey Grammer in...
At the end?
No. Well, when you see Kelsey Grammer in X3, full blue, not ashamed of it at all. Like, he makes a comment about, well, you can hide your abilities. Some of us still shed. Like, he says that, and then you're like, okay, so he's slightly resentful for being blue, but at the same time, he's accepted it and moved on. And then you watch these ones, and he's like, I want to be human.
Well, especially in First Class.
Yeah, when he accidentally turns himself blue.
Yeah. But no, I did like Kelsey Grammer coming back for her. Like, I was like,
well, everybody can.
Yeah, that was it was just a nice, like, send-off, for them.
No, I think that's how it should be done.
Then we got Apocalypse. Then we got Dark Phoenix.
Gosh. Like, for real? It's so bothersome to me that as amazing of a story as the Dark Phoenix saga is, they can't adapt that for crap.
You remember when we saw... Well, did we see Apocalypse together? No, it was just when you were in the Navy. Yeah, I remember, like, at the end of Apocalypse, I was like... I think I even messaged you. I was like, they're trying the Dark Phoenix again. And we're like, do they not learn? Have they not learned?
Which the point is, if you can do it right the second time, that's one thing. Gosh, I hope third time's the charm when they finally try it again. But no, it's
It's an iPhone. It's so dated.
Okay, I know. It's a Nokia though, so it will never be destroyed.
I like the pimp status of Lucius Fox, especially when he's like, "Here's your phone." He goes, "Got my phone right here, idiot."
I like the guy who looks back at him and is like, "Okay."
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, this shot right here. Oh, so good, so good."
Yeah.
But I wonder if that's actually the cat can't be Christian.
Probably not.
Unless he's Tom Cruise, then he'll definitely be like, I'll stand on that ledge.
Shit. Or you don't realize that behind him he's literally like bolted to the side of the building.
Can you imagine like Bale's like, I'm afraid of heights, and Nolan's like, well, there is a part in this movie where you are on
it would be the second movie too.
Yeah.
Like, there's a part in the next movie that you're going to
actually be.
You're going to have you hanging off the side of a building for a sec. What?
I told you I don't like heights. Well, you're not a good Batman then.
Wouldn't that be the funniest thing if we found out that that Henry Cavill was afraid of heights? Like, you're Superman.
You know you actually go to space, right?
Look, just because I played the character doesn't mean I am. I was just thinking.
Well, that's another character. Would you bundle him up like in Henry Cavill years from now? Like, oh, that was the guy who played Superman.
Because also what? I mean, I guess he's played The Witcher more recently, but
really.
And then he was he was the character in Mission Impossible.
You know what movie I forgot he was in? That Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Oh yeah. He's the main character, isn't he?
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie, but someone brought it up. I was like, oh yeah, that was a movie.
Well, and I feel like that's probably something that's going to be tied to him for a long time. But no, sorry. I was going to say, we were talking about Henry Cavill being afraid of heights. If Jason Momoa was afraid of water.
Hey guys, I can't swim.
No, you know what's funny? That would explain the crappy effects in that movie.
Oh, like when he does that weird little back.
Well, when it has we were talking about how the movie itself looked like there was like a thick glass of water in front of it, but everyone else was just hanging up suspended, and it looked super fake, which it was. But imagine that. Granted, I know he's not, but...
It's going to be funny if that was actually Zach C.
Yeah.
I'd be like, you know what, Zach? You talked a lot of shit on that last podcast about how you're not using Josh's scenes. Let's see Josh's Aquaman go into the water real quick.
Yeah. But no, like, it's, I don't know. To me, it's just, that'd be funny if Jason Momoa was afraid of water.
I love right here where if you really think about it, the Joker just always just been right. And I know a squealer when I see one.
Well, now, to be fair, he did get taken halfway around the world.
Yeah. Batman, he doesn't have jurisdiction. This is cool. I remember I was like, oh, that's smart. Like the way Nolan was like, I want to be real.
Yeah.
By the way, can we actually do this? I don't know, Nolan. We're doing it.
But you think about how illegal all of this is, and how that plane would probably be shot down.
Yeah.
Like, there's no, oh, cool, a plane just flew right over the top of a bunch of buildings in a major city.
But they flew under the radar. It doesn't matter.
People saw it. We scrambled the jets. We blew that fucker up.
I wonder how much he paid off all those dudes. Like, hey, you don't know nothing. You don't know nothing.
Well, I mean,
you don't know nothing.
It depends on how. It was probably incognito.
Well, what did he do? Like, when he swam to the boat, swam to the plane, he's like, don't look at my face.
He's got a scuba, like, he jumped off the side of the boat, he put a scuba mask right on. Just.
There you go. Hold on. We need to know where we're going. Hold on, I'm trying to get something on.
Yeah. Just took me to the back. You're going to be doing it later anyway.
He just comes out of the water and just has the cowl on. And then, like, on his shirt, it says Bruce.
Yeah. Wayne monogram.
That's why, like, in the first Batman Begins, I just love when he's living that criminal life. And he's like, I'm no thief. Well, you tell the guy that you're stealing this from. It's like Wayne Industry on the
Well,
box.
and then immediately late, like, after that scene when he's in solitary, Liam Neeson's just like, yes, Mr. Wayne. He's like, how do you know that? He's like, look at you!
Yeah, he goes, what did he say? It's like,
the world's far too small for someone like Bruce Wayne to disappear.
Well, he disappeared, though.
From everyone except for the League.
And I like how Alfred took all his money.
Well, so something to this scene specifically. The first time I watched this, when she walked in there to talk to all of them and walked back, I thought something was going to happen in the time that she walked away and came back.
I thought so too.
And then you're just like, oh, it's totally, okay.
The Rico case. Good.
So someone else who's never going to be specifically tied to one movie, I don't think, is going to be Gary Oldman.
Man, no, there's too many roles under that belt for Mr. Gary Oldman.
Mm-hmm.
And talking about The Professional.
Yeah.
It's just that weird little where he's biting on the pills and snapping his neck and whatnot.
Everyone. And then The Fifth Element. I really liked him in The Fifth Element.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and that weird when he bleeds, it just so creepy.
Because it's the darkness.
Like in this, I love his Gordon. Like, no offense to
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons, because we really didn't get that much J.K. Simmons Gordon to begin with.
Which was funny because one of the most hype things that came out of that movie,
how buff he got,
was like him in the gym just getting ripped, and you're like, dang, what is Gordon gonna do in this movie? And then he's in for one scene.
I hope though, because I know we've had debates over the Snyder Cut. I hope he gets a little bit more screen time.
Oh.
Like we get a little more Gordon, because he did if I went to make myself that buff for a role, and then you go see the movie, you're like, where's my shirtless scene? Where,
I'm supposed to, that's how we get introduced to Batgirl, is that, something happens in our house, she walks up, and I'm just wearing a towel going, what is it, sweetie? I just imagine, because we watched Harley Quinn, but I just imagine Batgirl just showing up and, Gordon having to rush, he's only wearing a towel, like, hey, Batgirl. Ew.
That relationship, everyone needs to watch Harley Quinn. And it was very sad because HBO Max announced, they're like this, it's now officially on HBO Max, the Harley Quinn show. I'm like, yep, the DC Universe app is coming to an end here soon. Because I remember I got so mad because I remember I messaged you. I was like, Stargirl's only gonna be on the CW. They're not bringing it back to the DCM. No.
You know what's really surprising to me in this movie? Sorry, a bit of a spoiler for The Dark Knight Rises, but it's that the mayor lives.
Yeah.
Like, he almost gets shot. Don't get me wrong, but
Good scare part coming up though.
yeah. Oh yeah. The first time this happened, but it's the sudden shriek in the violin.
Yeah. Hans Zimmer's score. Oh, it plays so well. To like this score, it will be memorable for the time, especially when you get the back dun 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 dun. You know.
Okay, but I mean, also in Justice League with the little bit of the Batman when like they're in that scene.
But it's so faded out. Like
it is, but it's just
like it took me the second time around to be like, hold on, oh, yep, there it is. And whoa.
I'm sorry. I think it would have been.
I thought you like. I was like,
End it there. No, I think it would have been like it's one of those nostalgia. How far does that take you in a movie for certain things? Because we talked about how it was annoying to certain things where the end of The Dark Knight Rises. Oh, you should use your real name, Robin. And you're like, oh my gosh, no. And then you cut to Solo, where who are your people? I don't have the people. Solo. And you're just like, so we're adding these things to kind of give a nostalgic twinge, but does that help or detract from the movie? So you have certain musical scores, like the Superman score has been in every Superman movie at one point or another, at least a little bit in the crescendo part. But then you have like the little Batman from the animated series, where I'd be like, if you put that in this movie a little bit, that's fine. But do you remember the first Transformers movie? Stan Bush was like, do you want like a modern remake of Touch for that movie? And Michael Bay was just like, no. And you're like, whoa, this movie is like living off of nostalgia. Why not let that happen? Because that could be awesome.
I remember the first time with the first Transformers movie, I was like, oh, Optimus looks so good. Then like, here's Megatron. I'm like, ooh, that does not look like Megatron.
Yeah. No, that movie in and of itself has some really weird stuff. Like, I remember in the old animated series, yes, there were humans there, typically, but they were kind of just there. Yeah, they'd have a human companion every once in a while, but his stories were always the most boring, and they decided in this movie, no, Sam Witwicky's going to be the hero of this story. He's the main character. We're going to have everything around him. And you're like, Shia LaBeouf, the Holes guy?
Do you think Bruce gets any action? Because he always shows up with women, but you know how busy he is being Batman.
I think he does.
Is that why he just beats up bloody criminals? Because he's like... Because you saw that in Batman vs. Superman. Like, oh, he actually does... Fuck.
Mm-hmm. Well, but there's one of the movies, I can't remember which it is, but someone calls him out on it where they wake up every morning and he's not there. Like you know, we do this, I wake up the next morning and you're not there. And... Was it Batman with Vicky Vale? It was either Batman with Vicky Vale or... I know it wasn't Batman Returns. Batman and Robin. Because remember, there's that lady he's dating for a while, and then he gets Ivy in his head. It's like, you called me Ivy. No, why'd you call me Ivy? Or was it in Batman Forever with Nicole Kidman? No, I don't think their relationship hit that point of... I thought they did, though. No. Yeah, they did. They fucked. No, they almost did. No, they did. No, they were having a party at Wayne Manor, and that's when the Riddler and Two-Face show up. Oh, am I just thinking of her in the sheets? The silk sheets? Maybe. Yeah. Because Batman shows up at her place, and she's like, well, now that you're here, I wanted you to be someone else. Because he finally falls for Bruce Wayne. Yeah. Then, like, Batman shows up. Yeah, Batman, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now, like, the whole scene's playing in my head because I just remember those silk sheets on Nicole Kidman. Yeah, no, I don't, because then Bruce Wayne and Chase are having dinner, and then he kind of has like the flower drops. He has his flashback,
Yeah.
and then the Riddler and Two-Face show up, and they're running away from him, and he gets shot in the head.
Yeah.
And lives.
So going back, it was a little while ago before this, with Rachel, another bitch moment where she just jumps to this automatic conclusion every time when she pulls Bruce out to the balcony, and she's just like, I know what you're doing. You're trying to embarrass her. He's like, whoa, no, I'm not.
Honestly, if anything, I think he's trying to stop him from being corrupted.
Yeah, then in the Russian ballet one, I don't understand Rachel's face now when she goes this. Unbelievable. I'm like, well, he's Batman, so you know.
He literally brings you the person that you need by taking away your evening. She's like, she's probably like, he intentionally did it to Harley.
Yeah.
Or to Harvey.
That's her whole point of this. She's just like, oh, you're just jealous. You're just doing it. I'm like, well, he did give you Lau.
Yeah.
I don't know. Rachel's character was like, after watching Batman Begins, I'm like, I don't want you to be with her. I know we get the note thing that I really clinch onto.
I mean, I'd still, by the end of The Dark Knight Rises, I don't want to be a Selena either.
Yeah.
She makes one okay move, and the rest of that she's just conceited.
And crazy.
Yeah.
But I love, too, with these movies is, Gordon's rise in ranks.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that was really cool.
Because he started out as Officer Gordon, then became Detective Gordon, then became Commissioner Gordon.
Well, Lieutenant. Right?
Sorry.
Is that how it goes? It's Officer, Lieutenant, then Detective?
I don't know. Whatever he is right now.
Yeah.
Because...
I think he's Lieutenant.
No. So it is... you see him as Officer Gordon when he puts the coat on Bruce's shoulder. He's Detective Gordon by the time... Batman Begins.
Yeah.
And then he's Lieutenant Gordon by the end of Batman Begins. And then he becomes Commissioner during this.
Yes. He was great. He was a good commissioner, though. He's such an asshole.
He was more absolute of the law.
Yeah.
Where Gordon lets Batman break some stuff.
I love that so much because he's like, we have no time. I'm going to choke him out. Oh my goodness.
I also like how these officers watch her blow up and are like,
Well, they were part of it.
Were they, though?
Yeah, they were the dirty cops. I get that vibe. You don't get that vibe?
I mean, I don't get that directly. At least with Ramirez and Wirtz, him, they, okay. But at least with them, you get called out. These guys are dirty cops. We have figured that out. With those two, you just see them driving away at the lady that's exploded, and you're like, well, if that's the thing, just shoot her in the face.
It's gotta be dramatic, though, because the cards and everything. Harvey, where's Harvey? I just love this. He's grabbing, food.
His shrimp cocktail, and then he grabs the drink.
Nothing's
He grabbed it so hard that everything fell out of it.
But going when Bruce puts Harvey in that closet, he puts that pipe there. I'm like, you don't think no one's gonna see that pipe and be like, maybe he's in there?
I just think it's weirder what is about to happen, what Bruce is about to walk in on.
Oh yeah.
He's like,
hey.
I wasn't about to do something weird in your penthouse.
They're like, oh, he's got a safer. But these guys, what's so funny about this was kind of Batman shows up right after this, and no one's like, well, we did see Bruce go off into this room, in the wall.
Yeah. I don't know. And this is probably one of the other great Joker scenes in this where,
you look a lot like my father. I hate my father. And
it'd be funny if the thug just took him and shot him.
I really like you get different variations of his Scar story.
Yeah.
Because first time I saw this, when he tells Gamble, when he tells Gamble oh, you know I got these scars.
Not particularly.
And this was like, oh, I don't know. I miss you, Heath.
I think he would have been able to do a lot of great things after this. Although, I will also say, part of me thinks, I know this is a really weird way to view this, but part of me thinks that Heath Ledger's passing is why Christopher Nolan's Batman isn't part of the DCEU. Because if you did that, you'd have to recast someone as Joker. People would be expecting Heath, and you'd put this giant expectation up. Now, granted, anything was better after Jared Leto's.
Well, with Joaquin Phoenix, when he won Best Actor, and I like what he said. He goes, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't on my best friend's shoulders right now, who made this role iconic beyond iconic, and it was one of those things.
Cesar Romero?
Cesar Romero, no.
To be fair, though.
His mustache.
I know. To be fair, though, outside of Jared Leto, there really hasn't been a bad Joker for the movie that he's a part of. Now, we talked about Zach Galifianakis, but for the movie he was a part of, he was a good Joker.
So if you had to, because there's rumors now saying with Matt Reeves' new Batman, they're going to definitely do more than one, because, you slap Batman on it, it's going to make money.
Yeah.
And Matt Reeves is such a world builder on his own, because if you look at the Planet of the Apes movies, who do you... Wait, what?
No, I don't like them.
Oh my goodness.
Which is funny, though, that has Andy Serkis in, too. I just thought about that.
Yeah. Though that's why Matt Reeves brought him along. What was I saying now?
World building.
Oh, world building. Who do you think do you even want to see Joker at this point? Do you want to build up the Joker? Because I want to give Joker a rest. Let's get into more of his rogues gallery.
I'd like a Freeze.
A Freeze would be cool.
Like, we haven't had a Freeze since...
Arnold?
Yeah, Arnold. Well, we've never had another Freeze outside of Arnold.
Yeah, we have. And 66.
All right.
Yeah.
But not in this century.
Oh, real fun fact. I found out something about Burgess Meredith, who's playing Penguin. So he stopped smoking during that period, and you know how he always had a cigarette and whatnot. So he would do this, like to clear his throat to not have the smoke be in his lungs. So that's how he created the iconic. Just a fun fact.
It's interesting. And it's just one of those, a new Freeze, and no offense to Arnold, he fit very well with Schumacher's kind of design, but not.
Sing.
Let's see.
I don't know why. Well, no, Deathstroke. Like, I wanted Deathstroke versus Batman so bad.
So here's the thing: is with Birds of Prey, with the Flash animated series, they took Black Mass, they took not animated series, the Flash TV series, and with Arrow, the Arrowverse. Is what I meant. Sorry, they took Deathstroke. And then at the end of Snyder's, they tried to put in another Deathstroke. And I'm like, I like the character of Slade Wilson, but I think all the interpretations that we're getting people trying to do of it are too campy for a good Batman movie.
The best one is Teen Titans Go to the Movies. Slade!
They should have him, they should put that Slade versus the Lego Batman.
Yeah. Still one of the greatest stories. The Bandit.
You didn't get my joke, did you?
No, sorry. With this on, I'm like, I'm just hearing Alfred in my head.
Yeah. What's funny, because, if you watch, like, memes, that was one of the biggest ones for a long time. Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah. It's just a well-written, little
It
dialogue.
It's the truth, though, too.
Yeah.
Is that is the complete concept of an internet troll. Some people just want chaos for the sake of chaos. But no. Who voices Slade in Teen Titans Go to the Movies?
I don't know.
Will Arnett.
Oh, yeah!
Who voices Batman in the Batman? Will Arnett. So
Slade.
It's Slade. Yes, it is. Why does it sound like we're talking to each other?
My favorite is when he goes, when they're like, that's such a cool name. Slade!
Well, because they had a conversation earlier about being able to say the name and being a cool one.
Oh, that's a good movie, too. That's the one you rip the shreds.
Yeah.
I like this little cat and mouse game where he's like, yeah, we got a Patrick Harvey here. Yeah. And we got this guy, Dent.
Yeah. But no, it's if we're talking about villains for Batman, though, like, think about the ones that haven't been done to death out of his good rogues gallery, because Batman has so many.
Condiment Man. I want to see a Condiment Man movie.
You mean Condiment King?
Condiment King, yeah. I want to see that. And, like, ketchup and mustard.
Yeah. The puns. I'll relish the situation.
Yeah, and I found that, too, like, when you're talking about Mr. Freeze, he was created in the 66 Batman, and then they took that character and brought him into the comic books.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like Harley with the animated series.
Yeah.
Um,
It was like Batgirl. Batgirl, they basically went to DC, and I'm like, hey, we need a woman superhero like Batman, basically a bat. Well, Batgirl, and she's daughter to Commissioner Gordon, and then that's how Batgirl became a thing. It came from the 66 show and then went into the actual comic books.
mm-hmm.
So the 66 show has a lot of credit under its belt for some of these characters, like Riddler. Not even like a Z character.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you look at what they did in the show with the green and the question mark and whatnot, the comic books artists really like that look, and now he's a top tier rogue gallery villain. Well, not
top tier is a bit of a strong term.
Well, look at him in Harley Quinn.
Oh gosh, he got ripped. He just
wait. Why are you back on the hamster wheel?
Oh, I'm just doing it to work out.
Look at my calves.
But I mean, Riddler would be an interesting one to see in live action again. Although people were saying something about Jonah Hill being the Riddler, and I'm like,
who is playing Penguin? Colin. It's driving me crazy.
Farrell?
Yeah, Colin Farrell's gonna be the Penguin.
What?
Yeah.
Bullseye from Daredevil.
Yes, Colin Farrell is gonna be Batman.
You mean Penguin?
Penguin. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the cast right now.
Colin Farrell would have been a better Deathstroke.
Yeah, it's very like I don't know. Are you excited about this Robert Pattinson Batman?
I'm willing to give it a try. I think people, like we were talking about people that like bad casting and stuff like that, and I think people need to give it a chance. Cause
well, that's the way I always look at these movies, because you look at all these casts and everybody's like, ah, then they see the movie and they're like, you know what, that is mine. Like now everyone's like, oh, Ben Affleck's the greatest Batman. Like I said that in the beginning when he got casted. Everybody's crapped on it.
Not everybody.
Well, not everybody, but
because I talked about it too, where I'm like, he's already played Batman. He was Daredevil.
Paul Dano is gonna play Riddler.
Huh.
And Zoe Kravitz is gonna play Catwoman. Jeffrey Wright's playing the Commissioner Gordon. Colin Farrell's Penguin. Andy Serkis is Alfred. This is a weird one though. John Turturro as Carmen Falcone. Like I don't know. It just seems weird to me.
I have a feeling there's going to be a little campiness to it because it's John Turturro.
Yeah. But Peter Sarsgaard's in here. Okay. Jill Coulson.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
I don't know. I will not.
That Paul Dano though is Riddler. I want to see that. I like that kid.
I will not. Like it's one of those, we've had this discussion. I'm not going to get excited anymore.
That's my problem. You know that's my problem.
I know that's your problem. That's why I stopped doing it. You have these expectations for these movies. And you're like, oh, it's going to be so great. And you're like,
Well, like the other night I was watching, very off topic, Monday Night Raw. Mm-hmm. I was actually excited for Monday Night Raw because I've heard a lot of good rumors. And then I watched Monday Night Raw. I was so disappointed. I was like, I'm not watching WWE for the rest of this week.
Yeah.
That's why there hasn't been a New World podcast, because of that Monday show. I was like...
But it's expectation. Expectation ruins things for a lot of people.
And I remember, like, you always tell me, Kyle, calm down. Like, let's think about this.
Well, truthfully, it's because you seem to overinflate things in your mind and either refuse to accept reality and think it's the most amazing thing ever for a long time, then you finally start going, okay, it wasn't great. Well, no. I'm actually more thinking Birds of Prey.
I love Birds.
That's what I'm saying, though, is Birds of Prey was not a very critically acclaimed movie. It's a lot of people don't like it that much. And it's Personally, I don't like Margot Robbie's
That's a sin.
Harley Quinn anymore.
That should be one of the 10 Commandments right there. That's a sin. Margot Robbie is Harley Quinn. Period.
Either way, it's one of those, I respect when an actor gets within the role and delves deep into the role. But
like Jared Leto's Joker, giving away creepy gifts.
Yeah. But when people think that's the end all be all for a character, that starts. I mean, because Heath Ledger, an amazing Joker,
Yes.
maybe one of the best, but he's not the end all be all for it because we have had other ones. People love Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. I don't particularly care for it.
Well, if this is just a personal thing, I think Heath is top notch up there. I like the Joker movie. I like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, but compared to a villain really driving a story, especially this story of how he's got his hands in so many cookie jars just to keep, then you playing a little bit of Harvey's downfall, starting with this here, and I remember.
It wasn't starting with this. It started with all the people being killed, the
Yeah.
judge being killed, and all that.
The commissioner. I remember I was like, "What?" in the theater when I was like, "Gordon's dead."
Mm-hmm. Well, let's be honest. This was honestly, I've said honest way too many times. This was a lot more the Killing Joke.
Yeah.
But instead of Gordon, it was Harvey.
Yeah.
So, that was. I think it was pretty well done because you need to. The Joker doesn't really have to be a huge part of this entire thing for it to work out because it's more about the psychological damage that Harvey Dent's going through. But I don't know. I also think it's funny that he's strapped onto that in the back of the ambulance. Harvey drives, he pops out of the ambulance.
I know, he just leaves the door open. I hear, "Who is you?"
I also like how she's just now finding out about this when the shooting was hours ago.
Yeah, it's nighttime now.
It's nighttime when earlier it was.
I'm surprised
day.
she didn't see it on the news.
Yeah. We'll hold it until she finds out. We can't. This was a live broadcast thing.
I think she probably already saw it on the news.
Hmm.
Yeah, all right, okay, so I was looking up something because it was bothering me. So we were talking about Heath dying. Heath accidentally overdosed on prescription drugs January 22nd, 2008 during the editing of The Dark Knight and midway through shooting for his final movie.
The Imaginarium.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, though. I said that he didn't die. He died after the movie. They were doing the press tour when he passed away. So I know that it was just during editing. But
I know that affected the editing, though, because they're kind of like, well...
I mean, I don't think so. I think it more affected the writing for the planned sequel.
Oh, I love this scene.
I like the part after this when he drops
Yeah.
the dude come on, from one professional to another.
Yeah.
This ball won't kill me. I'm counting on it. What?
I would have been like, I spoke too soon. I would rather die than breaking both my legs.
Which is weird, though, because you don't see him do much about it. His legs have to have been broken.
Yeah.
But
you see him walking around after. Well,
you see him in the car later. I was thinking about that, too. You see him in the car later. But, I don't know. It's... back to Ledger, though. He's by far in my top 5. He's probably my top 3 for Jokers.
Well, who's your top Joker?
We're just talking about Jokers overall.
Jokers overall.
I think my number 1 has to be Mark Hamill. Just because the depth and complexity he was allowed to give a character over time, and him in the Arkham games is amazing.
He's so creepy and good at the same time.
Well, that's the thing is freaking the Arrowverse has him playing the Trickster, and it's pretty much just the Joker.
Well, anytime anytime Mark Hamill's in a role that's not Luke, I'm always like, that's Joker.
Yeah.
Like in Chuck, like the Child's Play movie, when everyone's like, he's gonna be Chucky, and I was like, I'm just gonna hear the Joker.
But it's because he does such a good job of it. Like his range does it. And in the animated series, in the beginning, the Joker was kind of a one-note character in the animated series. but eventually he was given depth and complexity and you got to do it. Where, unfortunately, Heath Ledger was only able to be in one movie as the Joker, and he did good.
Well, just like what I told you when I rewatched The Return of Joker and Batman Beyond. Oh, just his...
So, you brought up the censored versus the uncensored edits of it.
Yeah.
And for some reason, my brain was like, there was a censored version of that?
Yeah.
So I went online and I found that there's like a comparison cuts between the two, like there's a censored and the uncensored. Yeah. For some reason the censored, like every time someone goes to get punched, it cuts to the bat signal, or the Batman Beyond signal on the screen to show them not, like, to cut out them getting punched. So I was watching the unedited and the edited, and the completely different scene of the Joker dying.
With the chemicals and
falling, and then him like pulling a lever and electrocuting himself.
Off screen, you hear.
Yeah, you hear Barbara's running, and you just hear the scream.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, I never remember seeing that. I only remember the one where Drake shot him.
Now I'm kind of disappointed because, as soon as I text you and you text me back automatically right away, I was like, that's my boy. He knows which one I'm talking about.
It's because I think I'd heard about the other scene before, but I just never watched it. Because I've only ever watched the uncensored version, and then I watched the stuff for the censor, and I was just like, oh,
yeah,
this is crap.
Yeah, like the uncensored version is so good and dark, and using Tim Drake, and you know, it's so funny. It's like I'm reading the Batman continued of the animated series, and they're just introducing Jason Todd, and I was like, oh yeah, they did skip over Jason in the animated series. They went right to Tim Drake. And now they introduced Azrael, and they introduced Deathstroke, and seeing them in that classic Batman animated series cartoons is so much fun.
Well, but that's what I'm saying, though, is the animated series had a lot more time to flesh out a lot of characters, which is why that is probably my favorite Joker. It's not necessarily out of...
He had great puns, too.
He did.
Mark Hamill's puns.
But it's not necessarily just because he was a good Joker. It's because of the longevity and the connection you get to have with him. But my second one... See, my second one's the hard one. Because...
Are you going Jack?
It's between those two, honestly. And it varies because...
89 is very special to us.
It is. And you just...
You are my number one guy.
I think the key difference... Which the only real reason I would probably pick Jack as number 2 as opposed to Heath is he's technically the Joker, but no more than Joaquin Phoenix is. Where, yes, he has the scars and he has the makeup, but he has the makeup. It's not him being chemically altered. It's not something that attributed to psychosis.
Mm-hmm.
He's just someone crazy. And where Jack, yes, he was not the most sturdy individual. They talk about how Jack Napier had anger issues, but he was a brilliant chemist, and yada, yada, yada. And then the chemicals, and what happens to his face, and what happens to him, breaks him. Where in this one...
You get crazy off the bat.
Yeah, he's just there. There's no build-up to the character. Which, if you include the Killing Joke, which I know part of the first half of it really kind of sucks, but if you include the animated Killing Joke to the Mark Hamill, we both did it, Mark Hamill Joker-ness, you also have a background story for the Joker as to why he went crazy with the Red Hood and everything like that. So you have like this solid stream for Mark Hamill voicing the Joker of this journey that this character has taken. Where with Heath Ledger, you only get I'd say the middle. I know he dies, but for the Jokers, it's only the middle part. Where the part that makes him very good in this is his portrayal of a previously established comic book character.
I think that's why I liked it so much more, just because I'm like, yeah, we could do an outline and we can build him up. And that's why when they did Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, I love that movie, but it's just like, do you really need to establish the Joker in some sort of way? Because he's always been crazy and a psychopath.
That's part of what makes Heath Ledger's great is, yes, you don't get the beginning, but you don't necessarily need it. But that's still what gives Jack Nicholson mine. like my number 2 as opposed to number 3 is, at least in the original one, yes, it was pseudo in a realistic world, but it was also fantastical in its own, like chemical things doing stuff, a long 6-foot gun that can shoot.
You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you? Oh!
Yeah. Yeah, and where a pseudo failing of this movie series, this trilogy, is how realistic they try to make it.
Yeah, I don't think that line will fly today. No more dead cops.
Yeah. Oh, jeez, that's not.
I know. I'm sorry. Right when I saw it, I was like, ugh.
Jeez, dude, that was a little in that case.
little bad, like that. But I like the fact where he's like, I am Batman, and Bale has it look like, oh,
I was gonna do it. But I also like how it's so believable to everyone too. They're not like,
we knew it.
Yeah. But it's just with how realistic they try to make it. I think it's sort of a failing to. Where would this have started? Had to have been the early 2000s, where they tried to tie these fantastical worlds into the real world to give some immersion, but it takes away from the story. Like Daredevil. I love Daredevil to death, which is probably a very controversial thought.
A character or the movie?
Movie.
I love the movie too.
It's so 2000s.
Yeah.
But
great soundtrack, great action,
good soundtrack, good acting too. Dude, Michael Clarke Duncan is still my kingpin. I love Vincent D'Onofrio, but Michael Clarke Duncan. But it's failing in a sense is trying to pseudo be realistic, but at the same time you have these fantastical elements. Bullseye never really gets explained.
Yeah. I like when he kills the old lady with the peanuts.
Yeah. More peanuts, please.
He's such a dick too. He's like, I killed her, but.
But they still have that little bit of fantasticalness to it.
Yeah.
And then they get like after that they start being real hard, like real life.
Yeah.
You know, I know that you like Superman Returns.
Yes.
But they try to make it too realistic at some point. Where you're like, it's Superman. This story's not supposed to be real.
Which is so weird you brought that up because that's what we talked about last week.
But it's if you want immersion in their movies, they need to not make them about something that's supposed to be fantastical. Like, you know, watching BVS. The Man of Steel is supposed to be very realistic-esque. And then you go to Batman versus BVS. And you're like, okay, well, now we have a bunch of super-powered heroes in existence. Are we just accepting the fact that nobody who has superpowers has become evil?
Yeah.
Like...
There's not... Yeah.
Everyone who has powers is a good person to this point in time.
Well, it's kind of crazy when you look at superheroes in general and how they kind of create the outline of villains. And...
Well, and then before we leave what I was saying about the hero, Lex Luthor even has a metahuman thesis that more metahumans, like Superman, is going to invite more metahumans to exist. And you're like, oh, okay, you need to literally create a thesis to...
Is that bringing in these superheroes?
To make it so, this is why more superheroes are popping up is because of this.
Well, that's why I think Marvel cinematically has done it so well, because they know it's a comic book movie, and you don't have to go over in depth like, we have a Guardians of the Galaxy thesis of why, you know.
Yeah. Well, no, and it's you know, their timeline doesn't exactly make sense because Captain Marvel kind of throws everything into a loop, but we'll stay away from that topic. But you go to Iron Man. Iron Man tries to be realistic, sort of.
I would say to an extent of doing it much more well than others.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't argue that. I would say they really try to not be realistic when they don't need to. I mean, the entire icing thing. Obadiah's getting dropped from pretty much like upper atmosphere and surviving somehow. Like, And even Rhodes being like, "Oh, you invented a flying superhero suit. Cool." Like,
Yeah.
how does that not bother you more? But it's because of the universe. And you have Thor show up, and obviously Thor's thing is fantastical, and it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But he gets sent to being human, which is when it's supposed to be somewhat realistic. But
still one of my favorite scenes in that movie is when he tries to lift the hammer and denied. And you're like, oh.
Well, and then I think you also that scene cuts to Odin in the Odin sleep crying.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, he wants him to succeed, but he knows he's not ready yet.
With this scene right here, real quick, sorry for cutting you off.
It's all good.
But with this scene, I remember like watching behind the scenes and how they did a lot of this, and a lot of it's real and whatnot. They also use models. I just love the fact that Nolan's just like, well, how can we get this the realest shot ever? Well, we can't do this because of this. Well, make a model. Because like in the scene where when Roz goes down with the train, that whole scene's a model scene.
Yeah, I could actually tell that one.
Yeah, but okay, how about this favorite Batmobile? Because I think the Tumbler's my top favorite. Is this because of nostalgia too? Like the sigh?
Well, no, it's just it's weirdly more difficult to do that because the Tumbler is fine, but if I was to be driving one of them, like personally, if I had a Bat vehicle to drive,
yeah,
the BVS one.
Oh, that is a good one.
Because it honestly, this might sound weird, but it reminds me of the vehicles from the live-action Speed Racer. The way that the vehicle's wheels turn on their own.
I rewatched that the other day. Fantastic movie.
Dude, I think that one is Speed Racer is so underappreciated for the kind of, because that was one of the movies that when it was in theaters, I was working there and I watched it 3 separate times, and I was just like, God, this is such a good movie, and the ending still gives me chills. Like that part where his car breaks down, he's just sitting there, and it's just like, listen. And he's listening to the car. And then... And he just whips everybody after that. And you're like, that's crazy.
I think that is the best adaptation of an anime, if I could say. Especially the way it kind of plays like an anime. You know, just because I thought that... Cause come on, we got like Dragon Ball Evolution, like, in that same time period.
No, and that's a harsh one, but yes. I'm more saying... I was more arguing the fact of...
I'd rather ride this, though.
The Bat Pod?
Yeah.
That was probably one of my favorite parts of Teen Titans Go to the Movies, when they keep blowing up the Bat whatevers. Like, first it's the Batmobile, they blow it up, he's riding the Bat Pod, they blow up the Bat Pod, he's riding the Bat... the Bat Scooter, they blow that up, he's on top of Alfred, as Alfred's running at the vehicle. And Starfire's like, he has the tenacity.
I remember I was
the
like,
perseverance.
when the first time I saw this with the Bat Pod, I was like, that is so damn brilliant. Because of the fact of, like, in the first movie, like, it's kind of weird when he's like, he goes in, like, that weird little part of it, then comes back out. And then when you see this, you're like, oh, it makes so much sense now.
Mm-hmm. But, to that, though, like, oh, yeah, and so this part, he could have killed a bunch of people here.
Yeah.
He starts blowing up these cars, and there's kids in, like, the car in front of them. What if he needed to blow up one more car?
And all the headlights he takes out. All the headlights, the side mirrors.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. I'm like, well, that's more money.
Sure.
That's more money. You imagine coming out after a long, hard day. You're like...
This is why Wayne Tech doesn't get involved with insurance.
Yeah.
Because they know Batman's around, and they're like, nah. I don't know. Is it still called the Batmobile in Justice League?
Yeah.
Because I don't ever hear it. Cause
I don't think they say it.
Yeah.
But you kind of know what it is at this point. The
True.
Batmobile, the Batplane.
Yeah.
I think I like the Batplane version in BVS. I like that weird little, like, kind of almost looks like a bat.
I mean, if we're talking bat planes, I still think
Caine 89, right?
No, Kilmer.
Oh, he had a great bat plane. Oh my, okay, never mind. Yeah. I thought
by land or by sea. Why not both? I'm like, well, you realize, Dick, that you're going to be taking the boat, right? Because I'm not going to trust you to fly a ship.
Gosh, still gives me goosebumps.
Woo.
So, Nolan, in this scene, you want us to flip a semi? Yes. Well, a real semi? We can CG. We can CG that shit. No. This is so great because I think he ad-libbed some of this with the gun, like trying to get up.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I would still probably say Justice League's Batmobile.
I would say that would be my second.
I
I still have a special place in my heart for the Tumbler.
I like the gull wing doors it has that like go up.
Oh yeah.
This would probably be second for me, if I am expected to drive it.
You'd want the Ben Affleck or
Well, I'd want Ben Affleck first and the Tumbler the second, because then you look at the rest of them. How hard would it be to turn in those stupid things?
Especially in the '89.
Well, and in the '90s ones. They're
long. They're like, you have to make sure you take that corner just right so you can actually make it. And Gordon's alive.
Yeah.
I remember the theater like exploding, like yes. And I remember at this point in the movie, you remember Mr. Bryson?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he was all like this. We were like, I remember like yeah, And I just remember overhearing him like this. We still have like an hour, like almost an hour left of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Ramirez, you bitch.
It also it works actually in this one.
Well, it works, but still.
It's a little bothersome to me though that Joker planned to be flipped and caught at this point. The Joker's plan is so recklessly convoluted. What happens if in that car accident he just died? Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
I forgot to wear my seatbelt.
Unless he purposely the other person didn't have their seatbelt.
But I'm just it's
now he's commissioner.
Yes, he is.
Hey, sorry. Oh, you couldn't keep me in on.
Think about it.
I've been home. I don't see anybody.
Yeah. That my only job is to be at home. Let's be honest. The only time I ever leave that home is when I'm forcibly removed later.
Yeah. Because when he kept the secret away from her, I'm just like, was there a plan of oh well, Joker could try to get my wife and interrogate her or anything, but none of that happens. So he gets that. He's well deserved of that slap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, imagine if you died for a week.
He probably had a party. Maybe that's why he did.
Yeah, the funniest thing would be is if he was just hiding out somewhere, just like you're saying, having a party, but just the most ridiculous thing. He's just like, bachelor life, bro.
Say, Gordon, did you tell your wife? No, don't.
Don't tell my wife. We're gonna go fishing too.
Yeah, you guys still want to go on that fishing trip, right? This is how I planned it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this scene. I think the scene is very iconic. I wonder, I always got it twisted up. I was always like, did they use the same room for Man of Steel? But I rewatched Man of Steel.
No, not even close.
No.
The room they use in Man of Steel is super clean.
Yeah. Before jails, these jails are dirty.
That's Gotham. Everything's dirty.
Yeah.
Outside of Wayne Manor, I don't think there's anything that's clean here.
Yeah, but look at that makeup. I like when it's all over the place, especially with the black and the red, and I think it gives it more of an iconic look than how he's more put together.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I wonder too, is there a reason why we have half these lights off?
Be the funniest thing if the lights turned on and the entire time Joker's lawyer's just been sitting beside him. Batman slams his head down. I was like, oh, hey, you harassed my client. Oh, how did you get here?
No, Batman. The light flickers and they see Batman. And he's like, hey guys, you ruined the surprise.
Well, I mean, the Joker doesn't even know.
A good cop, bad cop routine.
I don't know. I also do think it's pretty interesting with the Joker and like this take on him that he has a physical a physical disability of some sort with his mouth with those cuts, but there's nothing like there's no chemicals that have made him crazy like they kind of give the excuse for Jack Napier or anything like that. Like,
well, that's why I think this Joker's I'm such a big fan of this Joker is there's so much mystery that it makes it intense, especially the fact he keeps changing his story. Like, I remember the first time I watched it, and then the second time I was like, oh, because I was so like, awe. And then when you watch it, it's like, oh, wow, whoa, he did change the story like a couple times, like for me, but just because I was just in awe of just the way he performed and the way he was talking, the way he was bringing himself about. Then like when you really dive into like his psyche, you're like, this guy's really psychotic. Wonder where he's from. And they're like, he has no fingerprints. There's nothing of him. And I'm like, this is a Joker I can get behind, because like you said with the Joaquin Phoenix movie, you stated that's not Joker. Mm-hmm. Anybody can be that role of going crazy.
Mm-hmm. And it was that it seemed superficial that Joker was a name that was just stamped onto that character. Where with this one, it is like his goal is Batman. The person that kind of created him into who he is now is Batman.
Yeah. So
it's not, oh, I was created by an uncaring society. It's like, no, you are attached to Batman.
Yeah, he says it later on, but the immovable object and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
We're destined to do this. We're, and I've always liked that mythology of Batman and Joker. Like they're the same card, with two different sides, and they need each other in some weird way, to make it balance. Because he never kills him. Gosh, like
no, he does, but in different realities, and every time he does, things go bad.
Yeah, then like 80 years of Joker. We're still getting Joker to this day, and they're currently doing the Joker War right now, which is getting pretty intense. And now they got the 3 Jokers that are coming out on DC Dark Label that's going to explore. I guess there's been 3 Jokers throughout time, because do you remember when Batman
sat on
a chair and he's like, tell me who Joker is, and then he's like, no way.
If there's 3 of them. Well, and I think it was like, there's the Cesar Romero Joker is one of them, and you're like, I don't know how I feel about that one being added to the bunch.
Yeah, so that starts, I believe I don't know, ever since COVID, like I have no recollection, no input on when these books will come out. It's just like when the books come out, they come out, because at this point, they're just shoving these books out as fast as they can now.
Mm-hmm. But
I just love this beatdown.
Well, I think it's just like he's right. There's nothing that he could do, and he gives. I don't know. He gives her gives him the option,
and he automatically takes the Rachel one.
Well, which is why he told him the opposite ones.
Yeah, and I like when he goes, I really thought you were dead. The way you flew after her, and he's just like. And I think he's happy about it because he's like, yay, there's still that mystery.
Well, let's be honest. If Dent had been Batman, it doesn't matter where Wirtz or Ramirez had taken him. He would have beaten the crud out of whoever it was if he was Batman.
Yeah. But I'm just saying he's just happy, like, oh, hey, there's still that mystery. It's kind of like in the Harley Quinn show. Remember when they take off his mask? He's like,
you ruined the surprise.
I don't want to know who he was right now.
He didn't want to know who he was at all.
Yeah.
That's the truth of the Joker is if he knows who Batman is, the game is over. Yeah. He doesn't want to know.
Oh, the way he taunts him makes me so fucking happy because he's just like, you want to know which one of your friends were cowards? And I'm just like, oh, you just... Like you're digging.
I don't know why they left him in there.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like
he's in what should be a sealed room.
Yeah.
Leave him in there. Shut the door. You're all good.
Yeah. And I was always wondering about that, but I was like, is this just more for acting sake, just so we can have? We're trying to grab that Oscar, you know?
Well, no, and it's This is the problem with Joker's plan. Is had that guy not been left in there with Joker,
he'll have his phone call.
He won't have his phone call during this time. He won't escape. He'll be stuck in there the entire time. So cool. Like, yes, you did kill Rachel, and you scarred Harvey, but you are still in jail, and you are still caught.
All right, who has the best Rachel? Batman or Harvey? Like, yelling wise.
Well, the fact that Batman does it in the Batman voice kind of takes away from it.
Rachel!
Yeah.
I think the first Rachel in Batman Begins is better because
Mm-hmm.
it's a little bit more of that softer tone. Hold on, Rachel. Rachel! You know.
Yeah. I don't know. Part of me wonders that if the third movie had been more about Two-Face, like if this movie had been most of the Joker going on, Joker's plan, stuff like that, Harvey's in the hospital, end of the movie, Harvey is broken out of the hospital, he's on the loose, Joker has been caught, you still have the corrupt cops, next movie is about Harvey as Two-Face taking down the corrupt cops, and, like, forgetting the whole League of Shadows thing.
Well, that's why I wonder, because we figured, well, I figured out, like, I looked it up, Heath died during the editing phase of the movie, so I always wonder, because Nolan said they were working on the third, story, not script to say, but where they were going with this whole trilogy, and with Heath dying, it was kind of like, oh man, what was in store? Like, were we gonna bring back everybody? In the end, Two-Face, and like they're like, Two-Face is not dead,
Mm-hmm.
But
it's one of those. Even with Heath's passing, Heath didn't have to be the defining point of Two-Face. It's more, I think that Two-Face is vastly overshadowed in this movie. Like, think about as Harvey Two-Face. How many scenes does he have? 3?
yeah,
He's got
one in the bed.
Okay, I guess 4 then.
Yeah.
He's got the one in the bed, the one where he's in the bar and kills Wirtz, the one where he's in the car and kills Maroney.
He doesn't kill Maroney, though. We don't see Maroney die.
Well, the car gets flipped and he's not wearing the seatbelt. That's kind of what's supposed to be implied.
Boom. Didn't Maroney show up, though, in Dark Knight Rises?
I don't believe so.
It still makes me laugh that week. Every time I bring up Dark Knight Rises, I'm like,
That's the point, though.
Maybe?
Dark Knight Rises was not that impactful of a movie. Yeah, you had Tom Hardy as Bane, but there was nothing in that movie that was led to from these movies. The only thing you had is that Batman's been gone for a while.
oh, Rachel's note.
Well, that breaks them up, but even that isn't well done. It's the funny thing is, like, Alfred's just like, what if she wrote you a note saying she was going to pick someone else, and that she was going to stay with Harvey? And he believes him. Like, it's one of those, like, yes, I don't think Alfred would lie about something like this, but you think about it, it's what broke you two apart. But why?
Yeah, I love that scene where he's like, just because of the acting, but then when you really think about it, like, oh, you lost Alfred this early in the movie, and then he doesn't come back in the end. I'm sorry I let you down.
But you know what also would have been a really good thing that Batman could have done to help with this is if he had visited Harvey in the hospital.
He was heartbroken though.
Well, no. But here's the thing: is if Batman went, okay, so even Commissioner Gordon, if Gordon went, okay, Harvey, Batman went for Rachel, right? When he arrived, he wasn't looking for you; he was looking for Rachel.
He said, "Fuck you."
Well, he left you to us. So I'm really sorry that Rachel died, but no, Batman was really trying to help you, and we were really trying to help, or was really trying to help her, and we were really trying to help you. Like, I feel like that would have helped. Not so crazy of Harvey.
I was like, hey guys, there's a bat over there.
Yeah.
Snooping around, Alfred.
Well, okay, but you think about it. If Rachel had been, because she said he could read it. If Rachel had just said no, if Rachel just said it's for Bruce, he really needs to.
Or she could have been like, it's for the right time. But
well, no, that's what she said. She said it's for the right time. He said, well, how will I know? She says the letter's not sealed.
And when I die, I didn't mean too soon.
Well, that's the point, though, is that he's like, oh, this isn't the right time then because she just died.
Oh, I hear you. Technically, he's at the hospital saying, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's not saying I'm sorry, though. He's just as guilty. I'm just saying, when Harvey's awake, if he just been like, hey, look, I'm sorry that I saved you. I'm going to be honest. I was trying to save Rachel.
I only loved her once.
No, but because Rachel was the one I was trying to protect. I'm sorry that I let you down and then I let her down. Because look at this. This is what he's going to say right here.
Yeah, I know. But look at this scene. I love this scene. Like, because we were talking about this, and you're like, and he's in his penthouse with the cowl off, just sitting there, just like, I fucked up.
Yep. Which I will also say, Michael Caine is one of the strongest parts of this movie, and that's also something that I really don't like about The Dark Knight Rises, is that, like we were talking about.
Well, he's in both Batman Begins and this movie. He's the strongest. He's the glue.
And he doesn't necessarily agree with what Bruce is doing, but he understands why he needs to do it, and he doesn't stand in his way until he tries to do something reckless. So.
We'll never give up on Bruce.
Until he does.
Yeah, he does. He's like, all right. He goes, all right, motherfucker. He goes, I will tell you this. Rachel, nope. You aren't getting that ass.
Yeah.
Now every time I tell myself, like, and I tell you, I'm going to go watch Dark Knight Rises. I'm like, I really want to go watch Dark Knight again. Then maybe I'll watch Dark Knight Rises. But I never, like, tell myself, I want to watch Dark Knight Rises. I'm going to watch Dark Knight Rises. It's I get home and I'm like, Phantom Menace?
But okay, so outside of Rachel's letter, it brings almost nothing from the other movie. And yeah, there's the Dent Act, quote unquote, but that could have just been something else. Like, that didn't require this movie for that to happen. I'm just saying that Nolan did really good at the first two. And then on the third one, he just kind of lost his story. Like,
I think I knew where he was going with that. Like, soon because it's 8 years, you got to bring Batman back. You got to break Batman to make Batman rise again and this and that. But I just think that movie, honestly, to be really honest, should have been a two-parter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, have Bane break the bat in the first part. I'm not a fan though of, like, when they do, like, what's the last Harry Potter movie?
The Deathly Hallows?
Yeah, like Deathly Hallows Part 1, Part 2, even though on that grand scale it is a book, it needs to have that big finale. But, like, it's kind of like, what's the last one for Hunger Games?
Catching Fire, or Mockingjay.
Mockingjay, right? Like, Part 1, Part 2. I'm not big fans of, like, when they split the finale into two, because that's why I always feel like they try to milk it.
But it's, okay, so in defense of Harry Potter on this one, if they had, from the fourth book, started doing two-parters, I would have been okay with that. Like, the issue being, hey, it's the last one, let's milk this for as much as we can. That's one thing. But the fourth book was exceedingly long. The fifth book was even longer somehow. And they made those into one-piece movies, and you lost a lot of the story because of them. Now, movies being two-part, I'm not exactly opposed to. Granted, you think about that, this is already a two-part movie where we're watching right now, because Batman Begins leads into The Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and there's no direct source material that all of this is from. Like, there's source material, the comic books that this is from, but it's not like with BVS or whatever, where they're directly copying or trying to copy certain stories. This one is supposed to be kind of its own take.
Okay, so if I pitched to you, hey, let's split The Dark Knight Rises into two parts, you want to be opposed to that?
I mean, I don't really like The Dark Knight Rises anyway.
I'm just saying, but on a grander scale, writing the story better, I told you, we end part 1 with him breaking Batman's back. That is like the final shot you get. Like, you know...
Are you still threatening to blow up the city? Like...
Yeah.
I don't know, like, it's... That story has so many issues for me with where it leads to. I don't think 2 parts would have fixed it. I feel like if in this movie they'd led more into like the League of Assassins being part of this or something like that. Because you realize you go from the first movie being about the League of Assassins, attacking Gotham, trying to fix it. Go to the second movie, unrelated completely. Joker comes in. We have Two-Face come in. Both of them are gone by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe the Joker was supposed to be in the next one, but regardless, they're both...
We gotta go with what we have now today.
Yeah. And then the third one, all of a sudden, goes back to the first movie's end. Like, it's Dark Knight doesn't fit into this trilogy compared to Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises. But because The Dark Knight's a really good movie, it makes it seem like Batman being in... Okay, it leads into The Dark Knight, sort of. But then The Dark Knight doesn't lead into The Dark Knight Rises. So
yeah, because you got that. Remember when we were like, oh my gosh, this movie's gonna be so epic, and we're like, how many years has it been since you stopped being Batman? It's got to be a couple, right? They're like 8. I'm like, whoa, that's all.
Like, you guys took a really big jump there, and well, the truth is, in the first movie, Batman was a vigilante to stop pretty much mobs. Like, he didn't have any real villain he was facing that he knew of until Ra's al Ghul came back.
And I feel like that was the level Nolan was trying to go with, because, you know, you deal with the mob. Yeah, he had Scarecrow, but he wasn't really super villain-esque.
He was working for the League, though.
Yeah, but not to that extent. He had Ra's, who, you know, they've been doing this for years. Even Bruce is like, how long have you been doing this? He goes, it's not the first time we burned Gotham down to the ground.
It's not even that. It's not the first city.
Yeah.
They talk about how I think they talk about they were responsible for Rome or something like that. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so in this one, like, you get that sense of supervillain from Joker, where Batman's like, I have, like, the mob is, like they say in this movie, the mob is one thing, but some dude that's dressing up like
Well, and then you go to The Dark Knight Rises, which has Bane come into the picture.
Supervillain.
Yeah, you have an actual, like, supervillain and the League, but...
Then, Talia.
Oh, and then Talia. And then Talia, who... the things I really hate about Talia is she's not really portrayed as a strong female character.
And Talia is.
And Talia is supposed to be, like, the most badass. And that's one of the things is, with, you know, the thing with Talia and Bruce. They, you know, they have a relationship. Yes, I know that she drugs him and that's how she makes Damian. But they kind of have a good relationship as he sees... They both see what the other is doing and understands that one of them isn't going far enough, the other one's going too far.
Oh, you have Catwoman in Dark Knight Rises as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Selena.
Well, there's Selena, like... My God, there is a lot going on.
Exactly. And think about this. How many characters are return characters?
Yeah.
It's really just Scarecrow comes back. Not even as Scarecrow, just Dr. Crane.
Yeah.
I
think that would have been epic, like, if Heath didn't die. Like, I think that movie would have grown so much more with, like, everybody returning. Like, everybody's back. Guess what? We lied about Two-Face. We've kept him underground, but he found his way to claw himself back up.
Well, and I don't know.
Because how epic would it be when Gordon is being dragged, you know, him and his unit, then all of a sudden, like, here's the judge, and instead of it being Crane, it's Two-Face.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, hi, Harvey. And you're like, oh my God, where have you been?
Yeah. Or he could even just respond, like, it's not Harvey anymore.
It's Two-Face. And he goes, well, seal your fate, and flips the coin.
Yeah. No, that was the weird thing about Dark Knight Rises, though, is why is Dr. Crane the frickin' what's it called? The judge. Like, what sense does that make? You have Two-Face as an established character, and yeah, you said Harvey died, but that doesn't mean anything in these movies.
Yeah, you know, the League could have taken Harvey before they buried him, and then like his body just disappeared.
Which I will say that's something that really annoys me about another of the various things that really annoys me about The Dark Knight Rises is you have that scene that's the hallucination of Roz with Bruce, and you're like, could you not like have just put the Lazarus pit in, like explain, because that's
I read something about that though. Why Nolan did not do that? Because Nolan is all about keeping it so real that it was suggested to him with David Sawyer or Goyer, one of the two is his name, but because he's the one to help write the story, he's like, we have the Lazarus pit, and then he's like,
but why even bring him back in a hallucination then?
Yeah.
Like, you're teasing that anyway. And you're like, cool. Like, it would just... And, yes, it might not 100% be realistic, but at the same time, neither is getting your spinal cord that has been broken fixed by someone punching it into place.
Yeah.
Like...
I don't know.
And think about how many times after that happens... He goes to climb up the wall and falls.
And pulls his back
in a way that probably would have broken the already injured back.
But the thing that makes it epic is when he finally does make it, and the chant. What was the chant?
Rise.
Yeah, rise. But it's like.
It's whatever they were speaking it in, but I don't know. I don't know. And then it's just the Dark Knight.
We should do The Dark Knight Rises next.
We're just going to complain about it the entire time.
I don't know.
We're going to watch it and be like, I don't remember that. Oh, yeah, because I don't care about remembering this movie.
I'm going to probably watch it now. Like, I keep saying that. I'm going to probably watch it now, and I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, Flix, that movie is so beautiful. I was so wrong. And you're going to be doing what you're doing right now and shaking your head. Because I usually do that to you.
I don't know. It's just... It's not even the same movie by the end when you watch...
I think it's more... If you look at the tone of these movies, I get the tone from Batman Begins because it's a little bit more comic booky-ish style movie that they were doing then. To this one being that real, like, oh, we're kind of like, we're not in sets anymore. We're in the actual streets, you know. It's more realistic looking. And then for some reason, the tone of Dark Knight Rises is so, it's
so weird.
The coloring is weird.
It's a lot more saturated. Yeah. This is like the last Batman movie that actually has like color to it. Yeah. After this, all of them have been really saturated. I thought about something though. What if when that train crashed in Batman Begins, the League of Assassins had found Ra's al Ghul's body, brought it back, and something else that they grow with that mountain with the hallucinating drug they have is also something that when mixed with water has a regenerative properties. Which then that's the Lazarus pit. If you're dead, you're gone. Okay, that's one thing. But if you're in critical condition and put in that, you can still, it will heal you from almost any injury. Like cellular regeneration is something that they could bring into this and still be realistic. And then you have Ra's al Ghul back.
That's why Hollywood needs us.
But it's just annoying that you go as far as to hire Liam Neeson for the part, bring Liam Neeson back. And so it's also funny for Joker's plan. If Harvey had flipped heads or tails or whatever, tails. Joker's plan would have stopped working.
But we never see the coin.
Well, you know it's tails though. You know it's heads.
Do we though?
Yes, because he's looking at him like, "Are you gonna break what this says? Are you gonna actually shoot me anyway?"
I've always took that as like a mystery of maybe he's like, you know what, clown, I could kill you.
He's flat out shoots Ramirez, or he's flat out shoots
that's different. This is the Joker though.
Yeah, the person said the worst things.
He told him the absolute truth of like, hey, I'm gonna push you over sanity, but do you really think I'm wrong? So I'm putting this gun to my head. Either or, you have an option to blow my head off right now.
Yeah, but he still doesn't. Like, it's the premise is from this point forward.
You see Harvey, right?
Hey! You didn't give me as much of a head start as you said you would!
Asshole! I've always wondered how... Oh, wait, no, yeah, because...
he jumps in the back of this. That was one of Joker's goons pulling him in.
Man, this looks so good on your TV. I don't know if I can go back to my TV. Like, my TV's good, but your TV... Oof.
I don't know. It's...
I heard that Kevin Smith has over 106-inch TV.
There's bigger. I mean, there's one that is called The Wall, which is gigantic. There's also...
Do you guys sell The Wall?
No, that's only through the company that makes it directly.
Okay.
I don't want to shill for anyone.
Okay, yeah, don't.
So,
I'm just saying, like...
and you can buy custom TVs. I remember seeing something before... the FIFA World Cup a few years back in Brazil, somebody bought like a 250-inch TV.
Yeah.
But it's just this is only a 65, and it already takes up enough space.
Yeah, because like when I move when I upgrade, like I want a big one, but I want it to be more theater based, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's I don't know. I've told you 1,000 times, and I'm sure I've told people listening to this 1,000 times. If I could have my own theater like set up with like stadium style seating and a projector, like a good quality projector into a room, that'd be really nice.
It's probably where we would live.
Well, it's the truth is I would probably be more okay streaming new movies, like fresh in theater movies, if they were doing that, because. Yeah.
You imagine how epic it would be, though, if we had that type of setup and they're like, well, we caved in. We're going to put Black Widow on demand. And it would be like, oh, okay, cool. Look, we have our own...
It's not even going to be on demand. It's going to be on Disney Plus, probably. Because remember, Mulan's coming to Disney Plus.
But did you hear about Mulan?
What?
How much are they going to charge you to watch Mulan?
Oh, they're going to charge you to watch it?
$30.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be in, let's see, we're in August, September.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how it's going to work, though, because unless you click on it, then it charges your account. But yeah, it's going to be $30 to...
I wonder how many kids are accidentally going to charge their parents at that point.
That's what we said. That's where we're like, all right, well, when that movie comes out, we're going to tell the little one, do not get Mulan. Don't touch Mulan. You can watch the cartoon, but...
Mm-hmm. See, okay, so here's the thing, is I completely understand movie theaters getting pissed off for people doing that.
Yeah.
Like... oh, we have this kind of unwritten agreement that when a big movie comes out, it's going to come to theaters first so that we can make money. I get that, and if it weren't for COVID, there would never have been this issue. Like, this wouldn't have been one of those things.
Well, did you hear AMC finally caved?
What?
They're actually going to have Universal movies. Yeah. It's just because they were already on the brink of maybe being one of those chains that go away, but they're like this... Hey, Universal, like...
But it's you think of all these movies, like Trolls. Who really cared that much? Like, was that gonna be a big thing for Universal? But then you look at something like Fast 9.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna be...
huge.
That's gonna be huge. That's gonna make probably at least $1 billion.
Yeah, do you know, I realized, did you take back your ticket to get a refund?
I think I did.
I didn't take back mine.
Huh.
So I was thinking of framing it so we can forever have that memory.
Yeah. No, that's the movie we're doing next. We're going to do Fate of the Furious.
Yeah, Fate of the Furious, then we have,
Hobbs and Shaw.
Hobbs and Shaw, yes.
What was your wait? Were you going to say Hobbs and Shaw comes before Fate of the Furious?
No, I was thinking about, I was like, wasn't there another one? But
no, we already did 7. So.
Oh no, there's that imaginary one I made in my mind.
Yeah, the one with Han. That I have no idea.
Yeah.
But no, it's that I understand why movie theaters be annoyed, and I understand why companies want to be releasing these movies still. But you think about it, 2021 is going to be pretty, like,
Huge
cruddy.
year.
Well, no. I was going to say it's going to be a pretty cruddy year for movies if all of them are being released on demand this year. Right.
Yeah, like, I heard that they finally pushed back Tenet indefinitely, so that might not even see the light of day until next year.
Mm-hmm.
And
Bill and Ted's coming out at the end of this month.
Yeah, because I think that movie was so, like, low budget-ish, but not low budget-ish, to get away with that.
Yeah.
Because
So also a note, sorry, we're at the part where they're talking about people leaving the city, and they're like, yeah, no, we had all these cars, or we had our people check up and down that none of the bridges were rigged with explosives, but nobody will go on it. I'd have gone on it. If the police are going, hey, okay, checking, okay, we've completely checked this bridge, there are no explosives. I'd be like, are you sure? Yes, I will take this bridge.
I think it's just to show how stupid we become when chaos happens.
Yeah, look at 2020.
Like, I think this is a really good reflection of that.
So, it's kind of funny to me to think about, like, the next pandemic movie to come out. Like, what's that going to be like?
Because they're already coming out with them, though, right now.
Well, no, but, like, post-2020. Like, I really want to... if I could direct a movie at this point in time, it would be a pandemic movie that is as realistic as possible, showing how the United States has responded to this whole thing, and have it be like... You remember V for Vendetta?
Yes.
You remember?
I love V for Vendetta.
I love V for Vendetta too. But do you remember when they're talking about the United States? It's kind of a throwaway line, but like the U.S. is pretty much burning at this point in time because a plague came out.
Yeah.
That the British were able to find a cure for, but they kind of used religion as a reason not to give it to America.
Yeah.
And then America's just burning. And I'm just like, okay, well, that's a little more foreboding now than it used to be.
Well, I've always looked, with this pandemic and everything, with disaster movies and stuff like that, our government and those movies never handle it in any proper way. They're always like, monsters are coming? Come on, General. Are you thinking? That's crazy. Holy crap, there's a damn monster outside our place.
Gosh, Godzilla.
Yeah. Or like...
But that's also funny because like there's a secret government organization with Monarch, or international organization with Monarch, that are handling things really well.
Well, I'm taking like movies like 2020. They ain't gonna listen to no stupid Mayans. Those not 2020.
2012.
2012. Like, we're not gonna listen to no Mayans. The Mayans and their calendar. Oh God, why is there a big wave coming towards you?
Yeah. Well, no, but it's that they had already been setting up the arc too, but it's just not that level. Because man, I watched a funny video the other day about it's like if there was a zombie outbreak in the U.S. and it's making fun of the current pandemic, mm-hmm. which I honestly think that's what that movie would be. It wouldn't be a serious like thriller. Be a pandemic movie that would be a comedy.
Yeah, because it is kind of comical how all this unfolded. Because it was like, no, it's gonna go away.
But it would be like there's like 5 friends who are not super intelligent, but they're intelligent people, and the virus evidently is like a stupid virus or something like that.
Well, I find it crazy too. Is like we watched a movie the other day on Shudder, ironically enough, and it was a Zoom movie, so all on Zoom, but it dealt with ghosts. But in the movie, they're like, yeah, we're all staying inside. We're all here on Zoom together just because of the pandemic, Now we're slowly like making these movies, and I'm kind of like, wow. I really hope next year I don't get a shit ton of crappy Zoom movies.
Yeah, well, and it would be... I would want it to be more of an actual one. And it would be post this. Like, that's kind of the point. But it's not to say that humanity is stupid and doesn't deserve to be saved. It's the way that some people view certain things. The joke thing I was watching the other day, like with the zombie outbreak... It's these 2 guys. Well, it's the same guy, but he's talking. There's two people sitting next to this window, and they look outside, and there's just like zombies out there. And I'm like, oh man, we just need to shelter in place. We're gonna be fine. And it's just like
it just slowly outbreaks and.
Well, no. It's like a 1.5-minute video.
Oh.
Like the person sitting next to him's like, yeah, no, I'm gonna go out. It's like, whoa, what? It's like, yeah, I'm gonna go out. I don't want to stay inside. I'm like, dude, no, you need to stay inside. There are zombies out there. And he's like, no, I'm gonna go out. I want to do things. I'm an adult. I'm gonna go outside. And he's like, okay, well, at least wear these headphones. Evidently, the zombie virus is transmitted through your ears into your brains. But if I wear headphones, it's gonna be uncomfortable. Well, yeah, but it'll stop the zombie virus.
Why don't you play some music?
Well, no. But he's just like, do I have to wear it like whenever I'm out? I was like, well, yeah. It's like, that's uncomfortable. I'm not going to do that. It's against my rights. It's like, well, what are you talking? It has nothing to do with your rights. It's about being a selfless, caring person. It's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And he's just like, oh, okay. He's like, I'm going to go to the beach now. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, it's better than that, obviously.
I was going to say, I was like, this movie sounds interesting.
It's not a movie. It's just a parody of what's going on.
But here, I would say this right here, when the debate with the bombs, this is definitely America. We're like, oh, well, they had their time, you know? And then, like, my favorite part's when he comes, he's like, give me it. You should have done what you did about 5 minutes ago. And he's just like, he throws it away. I
also like how it's the kids.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. Do we even see Barbara in this?
No, even when we get to the scene where Rachel died, we don't see the daughter. We see the daughter, but we see the kid more than we see the daughter.
Which is funny
because the son.
Because I like part of me is curious if they had the intent. Because this is another thing that's wasted. If you have Barbara, if you have the idea that he has a female daughter, which we're going to assume is Barbara.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you don't want to show her that much in this movie because in case you hire another actress for her in the next movie, you want it to be a little more...
Ooh, that would have been a good setup. Like, in that 8-year span that Bruce is gone, all of a sudden Gordon's like, there's some female bat running around, you know.
I think it would have been better if it had been the tail end of it when things started to get bad again.
Yeah.
But you need to introduce her. Like, that's the problem.
Hey, Gordon, when did you have a daughter? Oh.
You have kids? Wait, what?
I've never had bring your daughter to work day. I've always just brought my son.
Shit. Why would you ever bring your kid to the Gotham PD at all?
I don't know, but you imagine that's such a, like, that would be like Gordon's like, somebody in HR is like, here, Gordon, we're having bring your kid to GCPD day. You're like, why?
We're having bring your kid to Arkham Day.
And they get to interact with the inmates and do coloring and.
Yeah.
In this part I really like where he screams, "I have to save Dad."
He feels responsible for what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's again this movie is so well done for the next one to be so bad.
I do like this plan of Joker's where it's like it's like, oh crap, Alfred, the people. The
people in masks are the good people. It's the people that aren't in them that are the bad ones. Until we get to one of the floors.
Yeah. But I like how he takes out the SWAT.
Yeah. I don't know. This is the one kind of mirrored scene. Granted, there aren't really any hostages in the other one.
Yeah.
But BVS's scene, like the uncut version when he saves Martha.
Yeah.
Versus this scene, I do still kind of like the BVS one. It's a little more brutal.
Oh my god, yeah.
But it's also the problem being that they're kind of willing to kill. Like that's.
Well, did he snap someone's neck back?
No, he stabs him.
Yeah.
Like someone stabs him and he takes the knife back and just stabs him.
I just remember seeing that scene. I'm like, oh, this is the Batman I've always wanted. Just straight brutal. Get shot.
Well, and it's I don't know. The problem with that one is the killing.
Yeah.
Like, and it's especially because there's nothing established that like was good enough.
Well, he was been 25 years in the game. Wouldn't you have enough?
I still, if it's one of those, he makes that statement in the movie about, we've been doing this for over 20 years, Alfred. How many
He's
How many
bitter.
friends have we had, and how many of them stayed that way? Well, you're like, you're no better if you're killing people. That's kind of always been the purpose.
Yeah, and that's why I really I like, you know, even though I do like killing Batman, don't get me wrong, I love killing Batman. This Batman I like is because with the Joker, he doesn't let him die. Like he still has that. Well, he'll let the dog die when he throws him down.
Oh, Batman, you dick!
Oh.
I don't know. It's
just so funny too. Like if after the hostages get saved and whatnot, and if I was Gordon, I'd be like, you guys are getting paid how much, and you're taken down by.
Yeah.
We need a whole new SWAT.
I don't know. It's still, maybe that's what happened in the next movies. They got rid of all the cops from this, so everyone else in the next movie is just stupid.
Oh yeah, and then they brought in Homeboy. Remember? To get killed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was sad. Well, kind of, because we really got no backstory with him whatsoever.
Yeah.
You're like, you care about this character. Why? Because she's going to die later on.
Yeah, you're like, okay, that's... I don't know. That was... We should probably watch that movie at some point soon, just because...
Maybe how about we watch it on our separate times?
I don't want to waste my time.
Well, I'm just saying, we watch it on our times, then we come back and we watch it together.
I still don't want to waste my time watching that.
Oh my goodness, this is for research. This is for podcasting.
I don't know. It's still not really worth it.
I knew you were going to say that.
I don't know. It's one of those things that if outside of PopFlix, I never watched The Dark Knight Rises again, I don't know if I'd ever care. I mean, I own it, and it's just, I don't know.
This part is so cool. Oh, there goes my leg. My groin.
One of us should have grabbed a bar first.
Ooh, and every time I watch this, I always look like, nope, none of them hit the side.
Yeah. Well, what's funny earlier, something that I actually missed until I watched it this time, and I've watched this movie a lot, which is kind of weird. But when Maroni's getting in his car, you see three people go to get in the car, like, and on the very side of the screen, you see the guy get taken out from behind. And it's because that's Harvey getting in the car instead. Like, he takes out the guy and gets in the car instead. And
it's just because you're TV, we can notice these
things.
things.
I know. But here comes the weird animal cruelty.
I will never kill, but I will throw a dog.
I will never take an innocent life, or yours. But the dog, he had it coming.
Yeah, nope. There goes one dog. There goes two dogs.
It'd be funny if the SWAT guys were just like holding down dogs, just started falling on them. But no, it's.
I honestly wish this fight was a little bit longer. Like I feel like now we finally got Joker and Batman like going at it. After rewatching it for the billionth time, I was like, man, I wish this fight was longer.
I love this scene though.
Oh yeah.
Give me that. I'm gonna do what you should have done 5 minutes ago.
That's what I said earlier.
We did talk about we like the scene. I didn't say you were wrong for liking the scene.
I thought you were like, I do the voice better than you do.
No. I like this actor though. The guy, not him.
Debo?
Yeah. I'm sure he's a very nice person, but he looks so freaking intimidating that it's like he was born to be an actor.
Yeah. And this asshole. Oh yeah? You gotta get your hands dirty? Then he pussies out?
Yeah. Well, it's. I mean, that's the big moral dilemma. It's not a question of if the community votes to do it. It's the person who has to choose to take that life. Like, you could be in a group of, 10,000 people all given a vote as to if someone should live or die. And if you are the one who has to take that life, that's...
Okay, how about this? What would you have done in this situation? If you were on the ferry just going, trying to get out of Gotham, there's thugs in the other place, what would you do? If you had to make the choice, like right now. You got it. Even though he threw that out the window.
I mean, To be fair, it's the question of how well you're being watched, because what I would recommend people do is
Jump off the boat.
and once we're clear, I would tell the other boat, like, do it.
We'll trick him.
But I don't think I have the capacity to turn a switch knowing that it's going to take a bunch of people's lives. Because, like, they're like, oh, well, it's a bunch of criminals over there. What about the cops on that? What about the guards on that?
Or the criminals that are not, like, high-quality criminals.
Dang it, I chose the wrong time to not pay my parking fine.
That's why I love this scene so much, because they're, like, the morality of it and how both sides decide not to kill each other. But at the same time, I'm thinking of the prisoners that are actually on that thing. They're like, man, I'm here for, like, I got caught with, like, a bag of weed. Like,
Not even that. I parked in front of a fire hydrant and couldn't pay it off.
Not my fault, because Batman was cruising through and he hit my car just moving slightly enough in front of that hydrant.
Yeah, no, the Batmobile actually launched my car into a building and I couldn't remove the car, so I got fined.
You blew up most of the car, but not the license plate.
Be the funniest thing though if Batman, like, had Alfred keep track of all of the damages he did. He's like, Alfred, I need you to keep a camera all around me all the time. And when something breaks, I need you to pay that person for it under a secret thing, so I'm not causing undue damage.
What if Alfred already is? And like,
well, no, that was okay. So one of the best things I saw was it's like a meeting of Batman's rogues gallery, and it's like the person behind it all, and it's Alfred. And he's just like, Master Bruce came back wanting to fight crime, and instead of having him fight hardened criminals that were just going to shoot him, I decided I'd hire a bunch of actors to be the Riddler, the Joker, and all of this, and all of their goons are just, hired actors, and I pay them to keep Master Wayne entertained.
That's so fucked up.
It is, but it's just, you think about it, you're like...
I cannot look at it any other way, though. But how about, like, it's one of those things where all of a sudden Bruce is there and they're like, hey, Mr. Wayne, do we have an outstanding balance account here? Like, what is critical damage? Like...
That's actually what the guy in the beginning of this movie has been doing, keeping the trust fund in order, is just paying off all of the things he's destroyed.
He says, like, a message to Bruce at the end. He's like, hey, by the way, I think you owe a lot of people money. I think your company's going to go under after you pay all these people.
Well, it's you wonder, like, at what level does it come his damage that he's doing, at what level does it become others? Because,
Well, even the city, because...
Well, no, but, like, when that helicopter gets taken down earlier in the movie, is Batman going to pay for that? Like... I don't know. I do... One of the things that I really do like about Bruce Wayne in continuity, though, in kind of regards to that, is that Bruce himself, in a lot of this, I mean, not everything, but in a lot of things, especially when it's normal life, not crazy life going on, but he heavily invests in the Gotham PD. He
invests a lot in Gotham, because remember, I remember in Dark Knight Rises, the orphanages, the orphans are getting orphanages. God, why can't I say the word? You say it.
Orphanage?
Yeah, are shutting down. Why? Because they were all funded by Wayne Foundation. Now Wayne Foundation has no money.
Mm-hmm. No, and it's just
orphanage.
Okay.
Either
way, but it's like he pays for. Okay, there's the girl. I always forget the girl is even here, honestly.
But you really don't see her.
You don't, and that's what I was saying is. If that had been the thing, is the entire time they were keeping her secret to have her come back as Batgirl, that'd have been cool. But that never happened. So.
Ooh, you know what would be really cool? Like right here, he grabs the daughter. It'd be our first time seeing her, and he's like, "It's gonna be okay, Barbara." That's a nice little introduction.
It just seems so weird that he from now on, Barbara's got that little problem of, oh, my dad cares more about my brother than I do, or than me, evidently, because. That's the favorite.
But the little idea of him saying Barbara is far exceeding and far better than, oh, why don't you use your maiden name? Oh, Robin?
Yeah.
Robin's a cute name.
Her name is Barbara Batgirl Gordon. So she starts using her middle name, and when she starts fighting crime, that's Nolan's train of thought.
How did you come up with Batgirl as her middle name? The 70s. Crazy times.
Yeah. My wife actually dressed as a bat when we procreated to make her. That would have been the 70s. This movie came out in, what, like 08, 07? That would have been, gosh, at this point in time, she'd probably be like 14.
Yeah.
So that would have been the 90s still?
Oh, the 90s.
Yeah. No,
They really don't want to show that actress painting.
I told you, that's what I'm saying. But it would have been interesting, though, if in the next movie there was a Batgirl and her spark to try to, like, train herself to fight crime is that her family got abducted like this.
And unless we didn't introduce Catwoman, and had Anne Hathaway be Barbara. I know it's a far stretch because she is a lot older than an 8-year span for this span.
You'd need like a 19, 20-year-old actress at this point in time.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
That would make sense, though, if they did that. You know what I mean? Like, Barbara's...
Honestly, now looking at it, I never thought about it before, but looking at it now, it makes a lot of sense that Christopher Nolan would have been setting up for that, which makes the fact that he didn't do it even worse. I hate The Dark Knight Rises more now.
Yeah. Hey, you're welcome. Because I thought, I was like, oh, man, Anne Hathaway is Batgirl. You know, that would have been cool.
Yeah.
She was an alright Catwoman, but her premise in that story was kind of like...
She was too whiny, in my opinion.
I don't remember. That's the problem.
She, almost all the time, she spent just complaining about things. And then, like, I'm not going to help you with this. Oh, even Wayne doesn't even go poor the same way the rest of us do. Oh, you guys sit up here on your ivory tower. You know, there's a storm coming. You're like, quit complaining.
Well, listen, she had some... Yeah, the storm coming, Mr. Wayne. I did like that line. Damn it. Like... Now I'm just pushing myself.
That shows how bad the movie is that you can't remember anything from it.
It's funny. It's like, the Dark Knight trilogy's my life. Well, what about the third one? I don't know.
the Dark Knight two-parter is my thing. Oh, so Dark Knight Rises? What the hell is Dark Knight Rises?
That's like the people who complain about the prequels. There's nothing before the New Hope, you know. It's like Casey. Every time I bring up, like, oh, Phantom Menace is so great, and Revenge of the Sith, he goes, I've never heard of those movies. And I'm like, oh yeah.
See, to be fair, there's only one movie, and it's because of the movie sort of itself, like, and everything mixed into it. It's Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. But it's one of those. I will accept that the prequel trilogy exists. I'll accept that the sequel trilogy exists, even that middle one that you don't particularly like. But it's that they went back and went, hey, let's make a new Indiana Jones, and then made one movie, didn't go anywhere with it, and haven't done anything since.
I have a fun fact after we finish this. I'll tell a story after this movie's over about the Indiana Jones 4 movie that I think you'll find fascinating. Do you really think this fall would have killed him?
I mean, any fall over like a foot could probably kill you.
Well, I'm just thinking maybe it's just because he was a little bit more fucked up, you know, with his burns and whatnot. That's why he died so easy falling that far.
I mean, could you imagine having like
That's his theory.
a really bad burn on like your left arm, falling like 5 feet onto your left arm? And I'm not talking like, oh, it's a slight sunburn. I'm talking like the skin
Scorched.
is peeled and
Your bones.
you're in constant agony anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, he's a G though. I've never seen him take any pills or anything. Just
that was the point though. That's what Gordon said. He said that you're in constant pain, but you refuse medication.
Because that would have been funny if he did pop some pills. They just go out the side of his mouth. Well, he did have that alcohol. Well, had that shot.
Slipped out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Or he just drank it dirty. I don't actually know 100% on that one. But,
we bet it all on him. I'm like, well, you guys should have not done that.
could we have bet on the Batman instead? Bruce Wayne's rich enough he can get plastic surgery to look like Harvey Dent.
Yeah.
Say Bruce Wayne died.
That's some Hush stuff right there, but in reverse.
Alfred, I need you to make all of my money, or move my entire will to Harvey Dent, but do it secretively.
Oh, that would be weird though. Like then, like Bale's out of the role.
Yeah, just have Aaron Eckhart playing it.
Aaron Eckhart's Batman.
Gosh, I don't know how good of shape he was in at this point in time, but he would have had to get in a lot better shape.
Oh yeah. Look at the lawyer.
Yeah.
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Which is actually a pretty good line for Batman in the other movies, the Snyder ones. Is you're like, yeah, no, he's just a villain now. Honestly.
It was so funny though. It's like when he's like, I killed those people. I'm like,
You think about it and you're like, anyone who knows your MO in the slightest isn't going to believe that. You realize that, right? You've never used a gun.
I'm the biggest backer for you when it comes to all this.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna be like, no, he's a straight stone cold. But Gordon, you said like you trusted the Bat. Yeah. But I think that's why in the next one it weighs on him so heavily. That's why he's like he has that note around and Bane reads it.
I also like how he's swinging for the metal part of it instead of the glass part.
Because he doesn't want to break it. He's like, I spent my money on this.
This is actually my own donation.
Hey guys, we really don't need to smash it. Well, I paid for this.
Yeah.
This is why we live in that real shitty like 2-story apartment. Because I bought this bad signal. I still haven't told her.
Yeah. My wife just thinks I was getting my check stipend for something. I never explained that I'd actually just paid for that.
Because that's a lot. Because in the first one, it shows up. That's a lot to tell the city. Hey, I need a light at the top of the building.
Well, it's funny because that's how this movie starts. Though, is when they're just like, "What about that nightlight you guys got on top of GCPD?" Well, if you want to talk to our electricians about faulty electricity, you're welcome to.
And it's so funny. Like after I watched Batman Begins and I watched this, it's like that roof is like so small in Batman Begins, and it goes to the roof, and this was like that roof's a lot bigger than it should be.
Mm-hmm. You know, it would be something I might do is, and we can discuss this at some other point, but it does seem like there were some hints in this movie of what could have happened with The Dark Knight Rises, but for some reason they just went a totally different way. Like, I don't know why they felt they needed to shoehorn the League of Assassins into the third one. But there were so many other villains that you could have put in there that might have made him come back, and it wouldn't have had to be the Joker.
Boom. The Dark Knight. Dun, 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 dun.
It's just so weird to finish this one and
With
then
thinking of the other movie.
Well, no, but it's so weird to finish this one on such
David Esquire. So I remember.
But it's so weird to finish this movie with such a strong thing. In the next movie, they're just like, yeah, we're gonna crap all over it. Like, I like this movie, and that's one of the reasons I don't like Bill Finger too. It's one of the reasons I don't like The Dark Knight Rises.
Bill Fingers was
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, when did they go back and change that?
No.
I was like, the first time Bill Finger gets credited is BVS, which I don't think was.
No. It was Bob Caine.
Okay.
And I just added, and Bill Finger.
I got excited too. I was like, did they go back and fix all these?
I've had this longer than that. There's no way they could have gone back. This is a physical copy. Like,
no, your TV updated.
Your TV just in like slightly off font below it. It writes it in there. Like,
it's all in marker. What was I gonna say? So quick story, okay. What you were talking about with the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So that scene with the lead fridge and whatnot, the infamous. In the original Back to the Future script, because what was his name? Plays Dougie in 16 Candles, Dead Zone, blonde hair kid, dorky.
The guy from
part of the Rat Pack. Because he was trying to go up. Well, I'll do quick story straight. He was trying to go up for Marty as well. And the script that he did an interview in the script that he read for Back to the Future far different from what we saw on this big screen. So in this version, Marty is the big finale is the thing needs plutonium and needs radioactive. So he goes to a plant and he finds out that in order to get the thing kick-started they needed coke to put into the fuel system so the coke can go. And it was the 60s, 50s, right?
Yeah.
Back then, coke was a big thing. It was all, so he goes, steals a thing of coke, and...
Are we talking cola or Caine?
Cola.
Okay.
So...
Sorry, there was just... When you're talking about the 60s and coke, there's two things it could be.
Yeah, and in the script was this thing, Marty then realizes, oh shit, this thing's radioactive, and it's going to explode so it can get the time machine and him back where it needs to be. He goes to a house, finds a lead fridge because it's lead, and this was all Spielberg's idea. And they never used that in the movie, but lo and behold, Spielberg held on to that idea until he put it in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And I wonder if that was his advantage point for George. He's like, fine, I'll do that. But can I have my scene where I can?
I don't know. It's not even just that bothers me. And also, it's the guy who plays the brother in 2.5 Men, right? That's who you're talking about?
No.
I thought that was like...
No, it's not Dougie. He was part of the Rat Pack. I don't know that dude, but was he? Let's see. I might be wrong. 2.5 Men. I never really got into that show.
Me neither.
We're looking up 2.5 Men right now.
Oh, that's what you're looking up.
Oh, John Cryer.
Looking up.
Yeah, and maybe him. So, Back to the Future. Yeah, it was him. John Cryer from 2.5 Men.
See?
Yeah, you're right. Recalls a very different Back to the Future ending when he auditioned for Marty McFly, while Ben Stiller even tried to go for the role of Marty. Was brief in his recollection of auditioning to play Marty. Cryer wanted to discuss some of the differences in the script he read at the time.
Yeah.
Like, there was really no doc and whatnot, so it's just crazy when you hear those evolutions of movies.
Well, it's fun. Like, that's one of the best part about special features on movies is when you go through them and you get to see what's happened. Like, you see how far the creative process can move from one thing to another.
Oh, that'd be so fun for us.
Yeah.
Jumping in Back to the Future. I'm still against the fourth one, but they want everyone, like Christopher Lloyd, he wants to do a fourth movie and final movie, and I'm like, I'll be down with that, but
I don't know. I feel like the issue with doing movies so long after the premise of it, and like if they had done it back in what was
the
it?
90s, late 90s.
Well, it came out in '85, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And then, if they'd done it back in like '05, of like the 30 years, because they go back in time 30 years, and they had a thing where they go forward in time, like.
Yeah, because Back to the Future 3 was 90.
It was 2015.
Yeah.
Either way, like, I'm okay with that to a point, but they need to be doing it for the right reason. If they're doing it to make money, which
granted, that's what Hollywood's all about.
Well, no, but that's the problem with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, though, is it doesn't have any of the heart or anything like that any of the Indiana Jones movies have. It doesn't, and you can talk about Harrison Ford as an actor on a lot of things where. Honestly, it seems like most of the time when he does things nowadays, especially, it's kind of for a paycheck.
Yeah.
Not that he really needs it necessarily, I don't believe.
Well, remember that weird little... You remember this, where he went into that whole weird, like, I'm only taking serious roles.
Yeah.
Air Force One, The Fugitive, Blade Runner. No, Blade Runner.
Clear and Present Danger.
Yeah. 40 Days and 40 Nights. That's why I love when that poster's in Fanboys. When they're driving, like, Harrison Ford's the greatest actor ever. They go by that sign.
But it's, more recently it seems like he's been doing a lot of them for money, which is why we have Blade Runner 2049. We have him in Star Wars again, and not necessarily in the greatest way in Rise of Skywalker. And it's, and he's still doing some good things too, but you just look at it and go,
still crashing planes. And...
Yeah. But you look at it and you go, if a movie's being made for the sake of someone thinks a generally good thing can come from it, that's one thing. If a movie's being made because Hollywood goes, that's been long enough, we can make another one and make some money off of it, which, that's the dichotomy of Hollywood, is they need to make money to make movies.
Well, that's any sequel in general.
I know, but you look at, let's talk about Star Wars. You look at Star Wars. Came out between, 77 and 83. All three of the movies were out between that time.
Mm-hmm.
Then...
Phantom Menace 99.
Phantom Menace came out almost 30 years, or...
I was like 30 years.
20 years later. Well, no, but from the first one, it came out almost 30 years later.
Yeah.
And you go, okay, well, the original Star Wars was written, and then later on it became Part 4, Part 5, Part 6. So George has written an introduction to these with 1, 2, and 3. Cool, we'll go with that. You watch 1, you watch 2, you watch 3. Awesome, they tell a story. Yeah, maybe not the greatest, but it is the one that George wanted to tell. Fine. I can accept those kind of movies being made that far away for that. Then you wait another, 15, 16 years?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when...
Disney's got it.
Disney gets it, and Disney goes, we want to start making new things. Which, I'm going to have to bring it up, but Rogue One comes out. Rogue One, you look at it and go, was this movie made because people genuinely thought something good was going to come from it, or to make money from it? It's more of a cash... No, but I'm also saying it's more of a cash grab movie compared to the first 6.
Well, remember, on the verge of Rogue One, everyone was like... A lot of people were like, oh, I wonder if this is going to do well. And it was one of those things Disney was like... And then it did do well, and then that's when Disney was like... Oh, hell yeah.
We can just start making
Star Wars movies every year.
and then The Force Awakens, and then Solo, and then The Rise of Skywalker, then The Last Jedi, then The Rise of Skywalker, and you're going, okay, the mainline story movies kind of still seem like there's something someone's trying to do behind them.
Mm-hmm. But
then you look at all these other movies where, if we had movies... that were taking place between episode 6 and 7. If that was the movies that were coming out were between episode 6 and 7, I'd be a lot more okay with it, because the problem with Rogue One, the problem with Solo, is you're telling stories we already know the end to, 1. 2, you made the Clone Wars saga, Rebels, and then... Resistance, all to fill in that gap of time. And... that's why I genuinely like The Mandalorian. I think The Mandalorian came out with a purpose of kind of giving a different perspective, because having watched Clone Wars, you know that The Mandalorians aren't doing great anymore. And
it feels Star Wars. It
genuinely does, which I don't get that same feeling from some of the other things.
Now, I rewatched The Mandalorian the other day, and I was like, well, I'm almost halfway through the season, and I'm just like, God, why didn't we put these guys on the sequel trilogy? These guys love Star Wars.
Well, and it's the thing that they're doing with The Mandalorian that I really kind of like, which this is something that DC could learn from, is that it's different directors.
Oh, yes.
It's different directors almost per episode.
Yeah, Taika's part of that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm excited to see what Taika...
Ron Howard.
Yeah.
So is...
Ron Howard's daughter.
Yeah, Bryce Howard.
Yeah.
Bryce Dallas Howard? Either way. She is,
Claire.
Yeah.
I just call her Claire.
I'm trying to remember, why can't I remember his name? Happy Hogan.
Oh, yeah, Jon Favreau.
Jon Favreau, yes. He did the first one.
He's God. Think about that, man.
Well, no, but it's you look at these and it's, I will harp this to the point, a series needs to have multiple directors.
And Dave Filoni, who was part of the Clone Wars big time, actually made his directional debut with The Mandalorian.
It's you keep the same person for a long time, it kind of makes an issue, which is what DC's done with Zack Snyder or Christopher Nolan's thing either, because we love the first 2 Christopher Nolan Batman movies. The third one, it kind of seemed like he had plans, sort of, especially now that I'm looking more deeply into it. I used to just watch it to watch it. I didn't really think much about it anymore. But, like, looking deep into it, you're like, wow, there's actually setup for a trilogy that never came to be.
Well, when I brought up the Barbara thing, you were like, what?
The Barbara thing, like, I could have sworn I saw that he had a daughter, or at one point in time, his wife told, like, the wife was standing at the door, and she told Barbara to go inside. Something like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't think about it that much, and I was like, I don't remember seeing this actress, which is why I think the problem was. And now you flat out find out they were blocking her face the entire time. I'm like, it's so they could add her, have a different actress, and there'd be no continuity. Like, that's not what she looked like.
Yeah.
Like, it would be to fit in that way. But it's still... It's Christopher Nolan doing all three. Zack Snyder doing all the ones he's done. Like, you look at when they step away, when they let other people come in, it's better movies. And I wish the third of these Batman movies had been directed by someone else.
Yeah.
Like, no, like, it's you can take something that someone else has done and make something better from it. Or make something good. Like,
but you gotta think, though, look at the space between The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. It's like 4 years.
So?
You know, but it's still, that's like...
The space in movie is 8 years.
Yeah.
Like,
but that's the thing, is like, I'm like, why'd you go 8? Like, I know you were physically gone for 4 years since we did the last movie.
Mm-hmm.
Why? It's the movies. Like, you could tell me this was yesterday and this was tomorrow, you know?
No, but it's also hearing that 8-year gap, it really makes me think, well, if Barbara was like 12, she'd be 20.
Mm-hmm.
She would be an adult in college or whatever, and you could have Batgirl. Like, that time jump makes so much sense to me now on something they didn't pay off.
I'm sorry I brought it up.
You shouldn't. But it's I don't know. I think maybe I will. Nice. That was super loud. I'm sure.
I know. I was like, as soon as I was drinking it, I could hear it in my ear. I was like, wow, that. Now he's just sucking off flicks.
I know. You wouldn't be able to talk.
Oh.
Wait, didn't my wife say to wait till she got home?
Well, people are gonna take that out of context. We'll just leave it in context. We'll just leave the mystery there.
But no, I think something I might do just to throw it at you is write my own third installment to this movie.
Ooh. How about, okay, you don't have to rewatch the movie because you have a decent memory. How about I'll rewatch The Dark Knight Rises. I will make my notes. You can write your version of The Dark Knight Rises, and when we do a 2-parter for The Dark Knight Rises, we can sit and jibber jab.
Yeah. You don't think it would have been something that would have been okay about these movies as well as if eventually they did want to include Robin in it, like, make it something that makes sense? Like...
Well, I there's a lot of parts in that movie that still hold, like, if I remember right, like just a lot of the Alfred parts really get me, and the little tidbits to try to tie it back to Batman Begins kind of get me, but overall story-wise, you're like, oh, okay, well, Bane's cool, but totally gets obliterated with Talia just being there, because you're like...
He's a bitch.
You're like, because I just rewatched Batman and Robin, and I'm just like, he's Poison Ivy's bitch, like, does anybody not grasp the concept of Bane? Yeah. This is why Bane's part of the main rogue gallery, because even though they did a great job with him in Harley Quinn.
Yeah, they make him an idiot, though. Like, that's the thing is, Bane's introduction is him outsmarting Batman. It has nothing to do with how strong he is. It's him outsmarting Batman. The Long Halloween and all that is him pushing Batman by having so many small things happen that Batman's trying to...
Long Halloween, Nightfall?
Yeah, Nightfall. I thought that was part of the Long Halloween. Nightfall.
Nightfall is the big one where they bring Azrael in. Because that's when, during the Nightfall is when Bane breaks Batman's back. I think you're getting two stories mixed up.
Either way. The one where Bane breaks Batman is he has a lot of little things going on. Batman's spending so much time trying to do all of them, and then suddenly he's too tired to face Bane. Bane breaks him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it had nothing to do with the venom that Bane was using, but, you know, he's still super strong anyway.
It was such a great, like, I remember when I read that, I was like, And I remember when I heard that Bane was gonna be in this one, and I remember seeing the trailer and like when he picked up Batman, I was like, oh, I'm gonna see
You know what's
it.
gonna happen, but at the same time, that was just a little fanboy payoff thing that meant nothing in the long run. Like,
But if I remember now, like slowly coming back to me, that fight is so great because that's when they take the music down to bare minimum, and you actually hear them slugging it out.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
you
sold me, Mr. Dent.
And it's, I mean, I understand that Heath Ledger's passing made a big difference for things going forward. Like, of course, they probably had something that brings the Joker into it if Heath Ledger doesn't die, but either way, like, I will write it with the idea of the Joker not being involved.
Okay. And I will watch it and probably come back on that episode and be like, oh my gosh, Felix, that movie was the greatest thing I've ever seen. And then you're going to be like,
let me show you something really great.
And I'm like,
to the wicked shit.